because a couple of weeks beforehand we'd played the Whiskey and Lynch had come out trying to steal him. So the line you've heard probably, which is, you want to drive a Ferrari, you want to, be in one. He put me through a couple of informal Parkinson's testing. Is, I got news for you. He's like, I think you have Parkinson's. Man, we've worked so hard to get to here, and you're just going to walk. MGV has just added you to heavy rotation. And I'm thinking, it was a hot dog, right? Here we go. But MC has just dropped the band. Yeah, because they were my favorite band. It was them and Skid Row. And I knew Rachel wasn't leaving his band.
Yeah.
Fucker. So cocaine is God's way of telling you you're making too much money. Again, you kind of go, oh, well. Yeah. The flip side of it would be I joined Saigon Kick and we have a hit single. I think there was a lot of pressure I think that Matt did not like.
Okay.
Yeah. Matt wanted us to be a dirty rock and roll band. Love's on the Way, although he can sing it well, and he does just fine with the ballad. He wanted to be in a dirty rock and roll band. We start recording Water, and he's just not into it. So he's just like, okay, I'm out. So what do you do, Miss McLernon? I said, I'm a musician. I got, which is code for you piece of shit.
When you're recording Water, are you guys like, all right, we're coming off a big hit, or are you like, oh, fuck?
Both.
Okay.
The worst thing was watching my ability to play just erode. I just couldn't do it. No, I was a bullheaded idiot. They were all going to make it. Every band I was in was going to do it. But when the doctor said, look, man, this is curable, I was like, okay, you usually don't hear that. So whatever's going to make me get on the other side of preventable for good, I'm going to.
We've been friends on Facebook for all. We've never met, but I have just been so inspired by you sharing your story.
The hair metal guru, from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru, never forget Charlie too.
Hey, I'm so excited to welcome Chris McLernon to the show. Chris played with the band Cold Sweat, who put out a great album called Breakout in 1990. He was in one of my favorite bands of all time, Saigon Kick, who I just did a video on this week. And he is a cancer survivor who is living with Parkinson's. And
yep.
I'm just going to say this. We've been friends on Facebook for a while. We've never met, but I have just been so inspired by you sharing your story. So with that, Chris McLernon, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir. And thank you for the accolades. I appreciate it.
Sure.
But as I told you when we were off air, I don't know any other way. So it's just like, you just plow through it. I don't know if it's the Irish in me or what, but just head down, keep going.
Yeah, and like I was thinking, and we'll get into it. But you get a Parkinson's diagnosis,
right?
And then you get a cancer diagnosis, and I follow your social medias and you're writing about these experiences, and you're funny and using humor, and I'm like, would I just be like laying in bed and dreading everything? And so I'm like, so I've been inspired. I've just been like, man, you know what? I bitch about things sometimes, and then I look at how you handle things, and I'm like, you know what? Buck up and deal with it, because there are people who are dealing with worse than you have to deal with. And your attitude has just been phenomenal. So,
well, thank you, sir. Yeah. Well, and I got a big reminder of that when I was going through the radiation treatments, because I would walk into the waiting room and see other people, and just be like, "Ooh, I got nothing to worry about. I got a little spot in my throat. Let's get rid of it, and I'll be out of here."
Right. So, and so we're gonna get into that. I want to talk about your music career. You've done so much, and you're still doing. And in fact, I was. Like you just produced an album by your bandmate Roy Cathy, right? And so we're gonna talk about that. But I wanna know, like, when did you know that music was your thing, and how does that get started, that you decide music is gonna be the path you're gonna take?
It was a couple of things. One was my earliest memory is of jumping up and down to the Beatles on a bed with my aunts. So yeah, there you go.
I wore that for you today, just so you know.
Thank you. But that was because I was a jock first. It's in the family genes. My uncle was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. My cousin played for the Saints and the Patriots in Ohio State, national championship team. So I was a jock first.
What did you play?
everything.
Oh, okay.
So just what time of year, that's what I was playing.
Okay.
So except when when I got to high school, I didn't play hockey and I did not play lacrosse.
Okay.
I don't know why. Probably because I was busy otherwise, right?
Right. Right.
But um, I saw Hard Day's Night on TV when I was about 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it just looked like fun because at that point I was playing in church,
Yeah.
which really wasn't fun.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, these guys look like they're having a blast and there's girls around.
Yeah.
Somebody keeping something from me.
Right.
So that's when I picked it up and just, it was a lot of hard work because I was a natural, but I was going to earn it. And I
And
did.
and you played bass in Saigon Kick, but you started off playing guitar, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Guitar and piano. Yep.
So were there some high school bands that you were playing in before you end up making the move to LA?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was a band in high school and in college. At
Okay.
one point, I was in like 4 bands in college because I had just that mind that would hold everything. It's like a human jukebox kind of thing. And it worked great for me.
So did any of those like develop a following, get something going?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The last band we had before we moved out to California was called Sergeant Friday. So, and we were playing, the biggest places in town. But I was in a band called Predator before that, which was all metal and easily the bigged metal band in town in Madison. Milwaukee I was going to college there, so it was a little more. I was paying. I had kind of blown off the fact that I didn't want to be a student yet,
Right.
so it was kind of mostly formative.
Yeah.
I'd say Milwaukee.
Yeah. Um, so what were you going to college for?
Uh, I was I was an art history major.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
then I went back to try and get some more going. I was like, what am I doing?
Okay. So
So
yeah, didn't you ended up going back years later? Is that
yep.
correct? Okay. Did you finish it?
No,
Okay, you did. Okay. All right.
no, because apparently they wanted Madison wanted me to be there like in the city for like the last 9 credits worth. I was
Oh.
like, why?
Oh, right. Right.
You know,
Okay.
and so I flew in. I met with my this is senior or what do you call him? Your advisor,
Your advisor.
and he goes, "Well, let me ask you, why are you doing this?" And I thought, wow, there it is. That's the question. I don't know, so I stopped.
Okay. Okay. I got you. I got you. Um, so when and I think is it 85 that you're like, fuck it, I'm moving to California.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
did you go with some guys from a band that you were in?
The guys from Sergeant Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
We all
So
went. Paul was our bass player at the time, and he'd already been in a band with Craig Goldie,
oh,
who showed up later. And he went back to LA to go. He was from San Diego,
okay.
and I think that's when Craig joined Rough Cut, and then DeFria, and off he went.
Okay.
So yeah, so we all went together,
Okay.
and it's I mean, there's that line in the Rush song, "Circumstances." Innocence gave me confidence to go up against reality. Woo! You ain't kidding. What was I thinking,
Right?
man?
So
I mean,
so what happened when you got there?
I got my ass kicked. It was just the reality of what was going on was just like, oh my God. I remember Ralph and I, the other guitar player, going to the whiskey one night for some Guitar Wars kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there with him, and we're just watching this and going, I'm not taking my guitar to my case, dude. I don't know about you. And I think the winner that night was Paul Gilbert. So,
Oh,
so I kept my mouth shut for a good reason.
yeah. Yeah.
So I was just like, forget it. And Anthony, who was our drummer in Cold Sweat, he had already gotten into Cold Sweat, and he said, dude, you already played bass on all our demos, meaning that he and I had done.
Yeah.
He said, why don't you just switch?
Okay.
And of course, I had to work so hard to be a guitar player,
Yeah.
but I'm not an idiot.
Right.
When you see someone who's 7 feet tall can dunk and you're 5 feet tall, you just went, maybe I shouldn't try and be the center.
Right.
So
Right.
it worked.
What happened with the guys in your band? I mean, what did they, did you stay in touch with them after that?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we got there and 2 of them got very bad drug habits,
Okay.
which I was not surprised. And party drug. It wasn't heroin because at one point the party drug changed from cocaine to heroin. That's when everyone went from fooling around outside to staying in.
Okay.
And you can see the shift musically.
Yeah.
But 2 of them, one died and one is still there.
Okay.
So it kind of, I don't know. I guess your chances of making are 25% if you go
Okay.
out there. If
Okay.
you're one of four, and that was me. And then if I think about it that way, with that sort of math, after a cold sweat, one guy got out of there and did well in another band. That was me.
Yeah.
So there's
Right.
your chances of you going down even further.
So how long were you in LA before you ended up getting together with Cold Sweat, which at the time was Ferrari?
Yep. Yep. It was about 3 or 4 years because I counted at one point because my son's in the band now. And I said, I bet he's like, this is kind of, frustrating. I said, I was in 35 bands before I got signed. I think 25 of them were in LA
Right.
because you just go and you try, no, try, no, try. I mean,
Yeah.
because the labels don't know what the hell they want. So
Yeah.
like, be more like this, be more like this. And you
Yeah.
do it and they're like, no, 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 be like this now.
Were there any bands on the strip of those 35 that you were like, hey, maybe this will do something, or did you know they were all kind of not meant to happen?
No, I was a bullheaded idiot. They were all going to make it. Every band I was in was going to do it.
Right.
There was just no other way.
Right.
But but there were definitely some bands like I'd be in for like 20 minutes ago. Go, this is just not going to work. One guy, um, well, he was a writer for Kerrang and he was managing this band, and he called me up. And actually, Brian Young, who has played with David Lee Roth, was in this band. We were called Kid Vicious.
Okay.
All right. So Brian and I are in there, and Brian was a great example of a guy who could just play guitar. I was just like, oh my God, I can't play like that. I,
Yeah.
I mean, I played like Gary Moore and Billy Gibbons, that type of a guitar player.
Yeah.
And as I like to say, Slash had not killed off all the pointy yellow guitars yet. Right.
Yeah.
So playing a Les Paul was like, ooh, you're playing a relic. What are you doing? You
Right.
loser. You
Right.
loser. But it was, how did I get off on this tangent? Where was I? I was talking about what was your question again?
Well, you were talking about fast guitar players and that you weren't like that, and fuck,
Oh,
my
all right.
sucks too.
Sorry, my
But,
brain, my brain sometimes like being on an ice skating rink, goes all over the place, but it doesn't
well,
fall out.
here's what I was gonna ask is I had asked if any of those bands had gotten close.
Oh, Kid Vicious. Sorry.
Kid Vicious.
There you go. Singer was a porn star,
Oh,
so we were like, oh, okay, you might want to tell us that on the way in the door too.
right, right.
But I mean, there were a couple of guys like I would meet them and later, hey, you were in that band, you were in that band, but everyone. I mean, you get there and the very first night I went down to the strip, we parked the car, and we walked up out of Sunset and Clark, right where the whiskey is. And I looked down the street, and everybody looked like me,
Yeah, yeah.
except for the girls. And I just couldn't believe the girls. Like, holy mackerel!
Right.
Wow! It was like every David Lee Roth video come to life all at once.
Um, were you playing lots of shows on the strip in those
Oh
years
yeah.
before? And did you play with anybody that you were like ended up going? I mean, I'm assuming you probably got some opening slots for some big bands.
Oh yeah, yeah. Racer X was one. Shark Island was another.
Right.
And then you have bands where parts of them would move
Yeah.
on to something like the Scream
Right.
or Contraband.
Right.
Yeah. But I learned it took about 2 years, but I learned there was kind of what I call the audition circle.
Yeah.
So once you break out of the local band circle, you get into the audition circle. And my break was David Ezrin, who I think has died. His sister Jennifer worked at the mall I worked at down the record store, and she said, "Hey, my brother said Lita Ford is looking for a guitar player. Still play guitar at the time,
Yeah.
and they want mostly rhythms, kind of thing." Which I was like, "Cool. Do you want to go down?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So I did. I didn't get the gig, obviously, but David liked how I played, so he recommended me to somebody else and somebody else. So that's all of a sudden you were now in the league where people were taking you seriously at an audition.
Right.
And it really made a difference. I'd say I had a Ferrari edition within about 8 months.
Okay. So that's how you end up getting into Ferrari. Is through those
Anthony.
connections. And
Yep.
okay.
Anthony was our still is
Yeah.
drummer in Cold Sweat. And he he had said, "Hey, man, the bass player's not working out. You know, start rehearsing." So he gave me a live set. So I learned the live set
Okay.
and walked in and just knew everything. I
Okay.
was ready to go. So, because when he was done rehearsing, we'd go rehearse by ourselves. So,
Okay.
Ant was the one who got me into Ferrari, no doubt.
So did Ferrari develop a name by playing shows, or was it mainly like he had been in Kiel?
Right.
So was
Yep.
it kind of like he already kind of had the
Yes.
deal going?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And kind of an offshoot of the audition circle. I mean, he was a made man as far as I was concerned. You know, he'd had a record out. He had 4 or 5 out actually.
Yeah.
So he'd been around the block, and he knew what to do. He knew where not to waste his time.
Right.
Right. And he's a smart dude, and he's a hard worker. So it was, again, as I got into that click, you just kind of go, oh, so this is how it's done. So many people are just worried about the wrong thing.
Right.
And Mark already had his stripes.
I interviewed him. I'm so far behind. I did so many interviews this summer that I'm putting. Anyway, I interviewed Mark, and for the record, tomorrow I'm interviewing Jason Bieler. So
Thomas said hello.
I'm interviewing all your bandmates here eventually. And if I can get fucking Phil Varone, pardon my language, I would love to have him on. But
Dude, Phil became an editor, a video editor, and if you've seen those commercials for the prepared, I think it's called Prepared Hero, where a fireman will walk in, throw a blanket over a fire on the stove. That's Phil edits all.
no
that.
shit.
Yes, yeah, yep.
I knew, like I saw an interview with you and he was talking about, or you were talking about him editing like some music videos. I didn't know
Yeah.
he was like,
Oh, he does those too.
okay.
I think he's already done a movie. Yeah,
Wow.
he's a maniac.
Wow.
When Phil gets into something, look out.
Yeah. He seems like,
And
I've,
that could be anything.
I've seen Waking Up Dead. Like I can understand that.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Was Wendy Dio already associated with Ferrari when you get there?
Yes, and
Okay.
this is a good example how Mark networks. Keel had done, I think, 6 weeks in Europe with Dio. So Dio, obviously, Ronnie was married to and managed by Wendy.
Right.
So Mark kept that connection open, and Wendy was one of the first people that he approached to manage Ferrari, as we were. But yeah, when I got in, it was like walking into a World Series team. You know what I mean? Everything was there. The pitching was there. The coaching was there. The hitting was there. And it was so cool to know you work your butt off, and there are people who you can consider your peers by walking in. I mean, I had a lot to learn, but I was like, okay, these guys know what they're doing. When Ronnie Deal comes up to you at a bar and says, "Hey man, how's it going?" And you're just like, "Is this really happening?"
Right.
You know? And he's treating you like a peer, like an equal.
Right.
Well, maybe not an equal in my head, but a peer.
Right.
Like, you're in the club, kid. Come on in. Here's your key.
So you got Oni Logan is your vocalist, and
Right.
so when do you get signed to MCA when Oni is still your singer? When did that happen? How did that?
That was in January of '89.
Okay.
We played the Palace opening for the Bullet Boys.
Oh. Okay.
And a sold out show. And that was my audition with the band, live audition. I remember Wendy saying to me, "Well, good luck. I hope you make it." Thanks, man.
You weren't officially in the band at that point?
No.
Okay.
No. So still had to prove it. So
Okay.
and I did. We got signed.
Okay. So you get signed and everything's getting ready to happen.
Oh yeah.
And Oni leaves. And I know you told this, but I mean, if you like, what happens? I mean, and we went on to Lynch Mob, but from your perspective, how did that play out?
Well, we had done everything to get the record ready. Literally we were going to be going into the studio that day.
Okay.
That we were going to sign a deal, because we got to the management office and Wendy had them all lay out in front of us with a pen, ready to sign. Except one person was not signing. He was standing back behind Wendy's desk with Wendy, and it was Oni. And she said, "He's got something to tell you," right? Which I thought, wow, man. Again, talk about a pro. It's like, I'm not covering your ass. You're going to do this. You're telling the boys.
Yeah.
So, and he said that, and Mark was like, "What are you doing out of your mind?" Because a couple of weeks beforehand, we'd played the Whiskey, and Lynch had come out trying to steal him. So the line you've heard probably, which is you want to drive a Ferrari, you want to, be in one. It's true. He said it. I heard it. So, but he,
That's a good line.
oh yeah. So he started courting only, I think, right around then. And in hindsight, I go, yeah, I get it. Totally get it. But at that point, I was like, man, we've worked so hard to get to here, and you're just going to walk. So, and as we're going to sign, Wendy goes, hang on, let me get some people on the phone. And one of them was Don Dokken, who said, hey, this is, be careful. This is what you're really in for. And Oni still went. And like I said, I can understand why,
Sure. Were you just, I mean, you guys had to have been furious.
Oh, yeah. It's like, are you kidding me? And I remember saying to Mark, because Mark was trying to talk him back, and I say, dude, he wants to go, let him go.
Yeah.
We'll find something. And luckily, MCA, although they buried us later, MCA hung on, and Wendy hung on, Kevin Beamish, our producer, hung on for the next 7 months while we looked for a singer. And nobody bailed on us, which I think says something about the band and them. They had cool enough sensibilities to keep us in their sights. Wendy could have dropped us in 2 seconds with us a singer. Oh my God, we're doomed.
They could, but that 7 month delay, and I'm sure you and the guys probably talked that 7 month delay. This is right when everything's changing. That could have been a huge 7 months for you. I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah, we've talked about that.
I'm sure.
But I mean, again, you kind of go, oh well. Yeah. The flip side of it would be I joined Saigon Kick and we have a hit single.
Right.
So it's fluky. You never know.
Right. You did. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, in Saigon Kick wasn't certainly following any fashion. We were doing what we wanted.
Right.
So
right.
That was more of a kind of anomaly.
Right. You did find Roy Cathy, and you guys start recording a week later with Kevin Beamish. Like, yep. How was recording your first major label record? Was it comfortable, or was it like, shit, man, this is a hard gig?
For us, it was comfortable because I think we had played the record so much in those 7 months auditioning singers. So, sure. And we wrote new songs. And Kev was just one of those guys that his motto was, we're not making widgets, we're making magic. So everyone was very loose, but up to it. Kind of like you want to be, when we were talking about baseball earlier, you want to be Otani, you want to come out on the mountain like, okay, I'm cool. I just hit a home run. Everything's cool. I'm ready to go. Yeah. As opposed to, if I would have been Roy Cathy, it might have been a different story. Like, oh my God, I've just been pulled out of the butt in South Florida, and I've gotten on a plane for the very first time in my life, and I'm recording a record, but he was fine. But I was ready to go.
Obviously, you guys got along because you're still doing stuff with him now, and Cold Sweat has done stuff recently. So obviously, it worked out. But
well, I think Cold Sweat was a matter of, and you alluded to this. We were much more a victim of the times, and it's kind of fizzled out there. People was like, "Well, when did you guys break up?" I mean, we didn't really.
Right.
We just kind of like, it's like John Wayne at the end of The Searchers. You just walk out of the door and just head into the desert, and everyone goes their direction and came back, and everyone was fine. So there was no hassle to really worry about.
What was it when you were recording Breakout? Was Eddie Van Halen recording or producing something right next to you?
Yep, privately. Yeah, his wife's sister, I think. So that would make her. Yeah. I forget her name. Jen. Jennifer. And Jen played keyboards. So he was producing them in Sound City in the studio proper, but he was also producing them in the rehearsal rooms that belonged to Sound Studio, which are right across the parking lot. So that's how we ran into him. And
didn't you develop a relationship with him somehow?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Somehow is a great word for it, because I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Here's a guy that I saw 3 times with Dave. Never saw him Sammy, but saw him with Dave. And he called me in my house saying, "Hey man, let's go bowling." I'm like, "Is this planet the one I'm on, or did I slip onto another one? What happened here?"
Right.
And he was just, you could just be heartbroken, because I've met a couple people who were kind of heroic to me, and they were just like, so disappointing. Yeah. He was not that.
Right.
He was everything he wanted to be. And this is 1989, so there's been 30 years between Wild 25 when he died,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of time for other people to get stories.
Yeah.
But at the time, not many people really. I mean, he was still Ed Van Halen.
Right.
Make no mistake. But everyone didn't have stories about the guy. So
Yeah.
we had some, and we still do. But we had some pretty unique experiences with him.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay. So Breakout comes out, I think, in August of 1990.
Yep.
Did the people get behind it? Oh, go ahead.
It was about May or June of '90.
Okay. Okay. When it comes out, like was the label behind it? Did you feel like they were like, yeah, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna have all sorts of promotion? Or did it feel like they just put it out and said, let's see what happens?
The latter, for sure. We put it out, and we went to play the Monsters of Super Rock in Germany, which was Whitesnake, Dio, Poison, everybody, big names, right?
Yeah.
And so Faith No More been kicked off the bill, so we got an opening slot on it. So we did what we did, and we did what we in the record stores. What we did everywhere in the U.S. We went and looked and see, okay, did they have the record? And it was everywhere in Europe and Japan when we were there. But we'd walk into U.S. record stores like Licorice Pete's or Sam Goody, no dice, couldn't find it.
I collect rock magazines, and so I have all these magazines from 1990, 91, and I'm like, you never see like articles or ads for the album in
No,
those things.
no.
So
They had a short window, they threw it out there, and again, you kind of learn these things later. That the old adage, throw it against the wall and see what sticks, kind of thing.
yeah,
And because I saw the opposite happen at Saigon Kick, man, when Love's on the Way started getting traction, holy macro, does the label get its big engine in gear?
right.
And you can't get, you can't get enough promotion. It's crazy. But it's all the label, and MCA just went, hey. But for us, we'd been warned, don't sign with MCA, musicians, Cemetery of America, you name it. But again, it was my first label in the bigs, our first experience of being on a big label in the bigs.
Yeah.
So you kind of take it, you go, all right, what can I learn here?
Yeah.
And what I did was I went to every radio interview, I did every small town TV interview, I did every print interview. So I got better at learning how to do it. And then Ronnie D will call on to that, and he'd bring me along to his stuff. And me, Anthony, whoever, but I was always there.
Okay.
So I watched him very carefully, even to the point of how he conducted a question. He was the one who taught me, if you're smart, you'll get your message across on what you're supposed to be promoting without chopping on whoever's interviewing you their feet and making them look, you know how to make it look awkward or not.
Right.
It's up to you.
Right. How long were you on tour with Dio?
3 months, I think it was.
Wow.
And man, I remember watching him the first nights and just thinking to myself, holy mackerel, this guy is just the epitome of professional. He was sick one night, I think in Atlanta, and could barely talk, had a humidifier, eucalyptus leaves and all that stuff. Could barely talk, and I'm thinking, what's he gonna do here? I said, "You all right?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll be fine." I said, "You gonna go on?" He's like, "Oh yeah, we're playing." I said, "Holy shit! All right, first rule, show must go on. I don't care." So he goes out there, and I'm going, "Okay, he's doing Neon Nights. How's he gonna hit the note? He doesn't hold the note, but he hits it. So if you're watching, you're like, okay, oh hey, you did it." But I was like, "Oh, there's something to learn too. Just do what you have to do in the job, get it done, give the people what they wanted when they came and saw you, and you'll be okay." He was just so attuned to how to treat fans.
Oh yeah.
We learned everything from how to talk to people. I even said this to my son the other night because he's a drummer and he's just starting to play festivals. So, which is hilarious. I'm like, "Son, really, a drummer?"
Yeah.
But he goes, "Dad, this guy came up to me and he's terrified." And I said, "Yeah." And he could have driven 200 miles, but he loves your band. He want to talk to you. So treat him that way. Don't make him feel like, even if you just came off a shitty show and your hand hurts and whatever,
Right.
that guy took his time to come up to you and say hello. say hello, treat him like your employer.
Yeah.
And my father puts it as you're running for office.
Yeah.
So
What
and that was Ronnie.
what band is your son in?
He's in two. One is called Newgrounds Death Rugby, that's one that's got a couple million streams on Spotify.
Okay.
And then he's in the one he's in where this happened is called Gal, which is Goblins, Oracles, and Wizards, and it's heavy.
Really?
Oh yeah, which is funny because I don't get it. It's so heavy.
Right.
Which is I'm dad. I probably shouldn't get it.
Right.
If I got it, I'd be like pariah dad.
Right. Right.
Okay, dad, quit hanging on rehearsal. Get out of here. You know?
Yeah. Right.
No, but that's cool. It's kind of like a Sabbath. Like, hey, what if you guys shut up? Get out of here.
Right. Right.
It's fun to go watch him. He's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And did you tour with Sleazebees? And I fucking love the debuts, or not the Screwed, Blued, and Tattooed album. I love that thing.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. And then when we got into Saigon, we ran into them in the Orlando Hard Rock, and they looked at me like, "What? What are you doing in Orlando?" And I said, "I'm in Saigon Kick now," because they knew them.
Yeah.
So Flom.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
they were great every night. Nice guys. I like them.
I'm trying like hell. I'd love to get Andrew. Anyway. Okay. So Let's Make Love Tonight starts getting some play on MTV, but MCA is like, when do you find out? Okay, that's it with MCA.
We're in Washington, D.C., and Wendy calls us up and says, "Boys, we got some good news and bad news." And I'm like the Godfather. I want to have bad news first. Right? So she goes, "Well, MTV has just added you to heavy rotation."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, hot dog, right? Here we go. But MCA has just dropped the band. So you talk about, Kiss slap.
Right.
Could not believe it. I just saw the sleazies behind you. By the way, very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, and Dirty Looks too. I love those two Dirty Looks records.
Oh shit.
Love them. Anyway, I'll stop nerding out. So yeah, we found it the same day.
That's so ironic, because that would, usually that would be the thing that would make the label go, now we're going to start pushing you. You have a video going into rotation on MTV. And
heavy rotation. That means once an hour.
Yeah.
Yep. Again, I know this because Saigon Kick. When everyone kind of aligns their little stars and sets you loose.
Yeah.
It almost seems like you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could not believe that. Still to this day, I remember being in that bus and just going,
I mean, what is the conversation like? And did you think, fuck it, we're going to keep going and we're going to make something happen? I mean, what did the band decide to do after that?
Well, we had a couple of days to finish out the contract of that. We were out with Child's Play at the time. So we finished those. Yeah, we great guys also.
I love that band too. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So, one of the highlights of my life was judging a Halloween costume contest, and with Brian Jack from Child's Play.
Right.
That was a fun night, but we had those gigs to finish out, and one of the last ones was in Boston, and then we turned around and came home, and the idea was, well, now what? And Wendy said, go in and write, and we'll try and get another gig, with whoever.
Yeah.
And this is the one thing the whole band will agree on, even this far, in the past. We got offered a deal by Grand Slam Records, which is, I think, part of IRS. And we turned it down, and we should have done it.
Okay.
But, oh well, again, hindsight. And I remember Ronnie Dio saying, don't take just any deal, take the right one. And which is not blaming Ronnie at all, but it's one of those things where in hindsight, that we'll put another record in the stores. Someone wanted to promote us. We'll just hop in a van and go. But
okay,
it didn't happen. And then here's the twists my life takes. We're auditioning / showcasing for Jason Flom from Atlantic, and he's rightly going, I don't get it. You guys are great. You play well. The songs are good, but everything's changing. And having known Flom later, that's just the way he is. He will just say just seemingly the most blunt, unpretentious, rude thing, but he's right. He's kind of like Simon Cowell. He's right.
Right.
He's dead right.
Right.
So he said, I don't get it, but there's this new band I just signed out of Florida called Saigon Kick that I think is really great. I remember just going, "Argh!" Yeah, just you're going to come here and talk about another band?
Right.
Great, thanks.
Right.
Why don't you just talk about my ex-wife and the new wife? Yeah, great idea.
Okay, so before, okay, you don't sign with Grand Slam IRS, nothing
Nope.
happens with Jason Flom. Is there a point where you guys go, okay, guys, Cold Sweat is no more, or do you just kind of end up disintegrating and doing your own thing? Was there a big talk or what?
I think it was just a matter of we just kind of started fizzling out. I mean, I know Anthony and I had Cold Gin going, so that was kind of a sore spot with the band because they thought it was pulling it away from our real purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go back and find the old rips and that sort of thing that Cold Gin was in, Anthony and I don't mention the fact that we were in other bands trying to make it. Tommy and Jamie did because they'd already been Black and Blue and they didn't care.
Yeah.
They had done 4 or 5 records. Well, I'd done one. I wanted to get another record deal.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be known as tribute guy.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a needle with everybody. And I remember, the guys in the band getting a little annoyed about it. And my point was, we're making money. I'm paying my bills, and G and Paul aren't stopping us. So we're doing pretty good. I'm not going to fight it. But I think after the second round of songs and plays of labels, we were just like, this is not going to work. Because when we were out in Mannheim, we also played a gig in London at the Borderline. And there's a radio rep with Kenny Ryback, who was just phenomenal. And we really got along with him well. But he wanted me his fantastic new band called Pearl Jam. They're part of, what was the band that came out of? It was where the singer died.
Mother Love Bone.
Yes, right. He goes, it's parts of them, it's parts of that. I was like, we're dead. And he played it for him. I was like, this is really good, but we are so not like this. Yeah. We are dead. And I remember the Black Crowes coming out at the same time, just kind of going, we are just not this cool. We're just not. We are going to get stomped for any other reason, just for fashion. It ain't gonna happen.
I don't know about you, but I've said this, even before grunge or the Crows came, you had Poison, you had Metallica, you had Maiden, all these different kinds of rock. When grunge came in, we just thought, oh well, here's another kind of rock. We didn't know it was going to be the death knell of everything that came before it.
Yeah. I likened it to when the punks came in the 70s. They killed all the prog bands.
You're right.
All the ELPs, the Deep Purples, all yes. So the punk bands just came in and said, well, we can't play that like that. And a lot of people say, I can't either, but I like hearing guys who try.
Yeah.
And I think that was the same thing. Because when you went from all the big hair and the expensive outfits and the crazy guitars and the crazy choreography to the other half, which was getting your clothes at Salvation Army, which was brilliant, and wearing Doc Martens or just Chucks or whatever. Like, wow, I don't have to do anything to show up. This is awesome. I love it. Yeah. But, it also came with the stigma of you are now radioactive. The labels will want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And because if you look back, really the only band of our era that did really well and stayed there was Tesla.
Yeah.
The only one. And they were the most true to being just a rock and roll band.
Right.
The ones like Van Halen and Aerosmith, they just kind of legacied their butts in there.
Yep.
But the newer ones were still kind of, taken out behind the barn and shot.
Yeah. So you start Cold Gin, and people nowadays like tribute bands are the rage, but there were no tribute bands.
No.
Back then, I mean, that was such an original. Like, how do you guys decide, you know what? Fuck it, we're gonna go start playing Kiss songs when that's not being done?
That was a matter of Mark and Jamie have the same birthday. So there'd always be a big party, right? So all the guys in Coldspell go over there. All the guys in Back Black and Blue. Every LA musician from that ilk would show up at the parties.
Yeah.
So we get up and we just play Kiss songs and amuse ourselves, right? Because it was fun. I mean, there was always a kind of communal gear there, and you started jamming and that sort of thing. So we're like, well, you know what? This sounds actually pretty good. We should try and just book a gig. And it was at, and a couple of them early were like, just really late and nobody got it. And then all of a sudden it started catching on because we were good. I mean, you had guys who, again, we made guys who made records with Gene Simmons. So
Right.
they knew what they were doing. And Tommy, I always say that they're so lucky they have now because Tommy just was absolutely our quality control. So he was their quality, meaning Kisses too. So we start doing it and we're doing it and we're doing it and it's getting bigger and bigger. And we're just wearing Kiss t-shirts and jeans and stuff, right?
Yeah, you're not wearing makeup and stuff. Right.
No, and so one Memorial Day weekend we were playing FM and Jamie says, let's put the makeup on. I was like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. He goes, look, we're either going to be the heroes or the goats, and I'm not going to be a goat. And he was right. They wouldn't even create, and this was just with a face.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, well, we're most of the way there. Let's just start going all the way. So we picked a live because it was the cheapest start to reproduce. And the gig, we would plan the gig around if they were going out for like testing new material for Destroyer. So we would do Detroit, Shout It Out Loud. We'd sneak in a couple, but we didn't do anything past that era.
Yeah.
And it got so far out of control. It was a blast. One of my favorite memories of that, we had sold out the Roxy, oversold it because it was brutal in there.
Right.
And I ran Kenny Chase on from Keel outside. And Kenny's like lit out of his mind, but he used the Happiest Man Puppet Land right there. And he goes, dude, did you see them? It was awesome. We had such a blast. I'm like, yeah, it was fun. Huh? He goes, oh, God, they're so much fun. No idea I'm in the band. Right? He has no idea. I mean, he knows me,
Right.
but he's like, dude, that was so much fun. I'm just like, yeah, it was. And it became apparent that he was clueless. But it happened all the time. So many of these bands. I remember running to Chris Jericho in LA like 10 years ago.
The wrestler.
Yeah.
And singer.
Fozzy, right? Yeah.
Fozzy. Yep.
So I went to shake his hand and I said, hey, man, I'm Chris McLean. I didn't even get my last name. He goes, oh, man, I know who you are. I saw Cold Gin. And I'm just going, holy shit.
Right.
But
Right.
you didn't talk about anything else but Cold Gin.
And I just wanted to make sure. So Jamie St. James and Tommy Thayer from Black and Blue were in that band. I wanted to make sure that the viewers got that. And so it starts to happen. Like you guys even started showing up in like Metal Edge magazine and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And didn't Gene and Paul even talk to, and kind of give you like, okay, we're okay with this? Like
Yep.
what's
we
the interaction?
we did sign a paper that said if they come down on us, we will stop. Which we were like, they're not going to stop us, but okay.
Right.
But we got so big, we played the Anaheim Celebrity Theater. It's probably got some naming rights now, so something else. But this is a 3,500 seater, I think.
Yeah.
And it's in the round, and we sold it out. And so we were the biggest band in LA, and we were not trying to get signed. But Gene saw that and was like, okay, you've gotten a little too big. So we had to take the logo off the bass drum. We had to do something else. And which, again, all made fine sense to me. It's
Right.
like, you were allowing us to use your image and your music and pay my rent. Hot dog.
Right.
So I had no problem doing that.
Sure.
But it was a matter of would they have been as easy on us if they didn't have Tommy and Jamie under their wing? Because they loved those two.
Oh, sure.
If you did you see the End of the Road concert on pay-per-view?
The Madison Square. I didn't see it on paper, but I've seen it since. Yes.
Okay. At the very end, when Gene is backstage talking about his kidney stone, which was hilarious, the first person he acknowledges is Jamie St. James.
Okay.
He's going to go, Jamie! And then he turns to the interview and says, I produced some other records. So that tells you how much he loves Jamie and Tommy.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy's in the band.
Obviously, Tommy. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they were so kind to us and generous, and they could have been a big pain in the butt.
Sure.
Deservedly so. We
Sure.
were using their idea.
Right.
Nope.
Did
problem.
you guys have to pay him?
Nope.
Okay. I'm surprised Gene didn't say, okay, we get 20%. But I mean, and I'm a massive Kiss fan. I'm not trying to shit on him, but I mean, that's kind of his reputation.
Oh yeah, and it works for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he let us go. Okay.
Okay.
Jamie seems to think is we were market research for them.
Sure.
So because we came out, we had all these old songs, and all of a sudden they started adding them.
Okay. Yeah.
Jamie was like, look at that, look at that. They did even I Still Your Love since in 1979, and now they're playing it again.
Was
Okay.
was there okay, so in 92 you get the chance comes for you to join Saigon Kick.
Yep.
I'll ask how that happened, but first, was there any apprehension? You're like, shit, I got this cover song, this tribute band where I'm probably making good money, but I mean, Saigon Kick. Anyway, I'll stop there. What happened with you leaving Cold Gin to go join Saigon Kick?
Good question. I remember Saint saying to me, "Dude, go. Don't even think twice. Go audition. You'll get." Because they were my favorite band. It was them and Skid Row. And I knew Rachel wasn't leaving his band.
Yeah.
Fucker. So I love teasing about that. But yeah, so we Saint was like, "Just go right, just go, get out of here." That was the whole idea. This is kind of something that held our spot. I was a bookmarker. So I went out. And I had gotten a call. Tom DeFile had been fired the weekend. I think it was Memorial Day weekend. And he did one gig with him, and that was that. Or maybe on July 4th, one of the two.
Okay.
And I got a call from my friend John Germanario, who was at Mercury. And he goes, "Hey, Saigon fired their bass player. Here's the address. Send your shit in there." So I was the first guy in, literally.
Yeah.
So their guitar tech I sent to him. And the guitar, he loved it, so he put on top. And now I was the only guy apparently they listened to and looked at. And they figured, well, he's kind of like us. One record out. He did tour, did video. So it was kind of very much professionally a parallel move. For me, I was ecstatic because Saigon Kick was everything about I wanted to be in that band. Now, to me, they were heavy Beatles, and it sounded so what I wanted my band to be like. Play any style and do it well, or at least amusingly. Like on the Lizard, you got My Dog and Chanel. It's quite a contrast, but it made sense to me. Yeah. So I was ecstatic. I couldn't wait. I was like, and then I got the gig. What are you kidding me? The only thing I can compare that to would be like Tim Owens going into Priest.
Right. I was a freshman in college in the fall of '91, and my roommate had the debut Saigon Kick album. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is so different than anything I'd been listening to.
Yes.
And fell in love with that band. So I can relate to your excitement about getting in.
His girlfriend worked at Atlantic, and she knew what we were like. And she goes, "You guys got to hear this. This is like and she played just My Life first. And I was like, what? I was like, this is like ELO, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yes.
And I was just like, hold it, put the first song on. And, wang, as we call it, the Indian intro, the Indian starts.
Yep.
And New World, Phil comes in on the drums, like, wow, what the fuck is this?
Oh.
But so the songs, always. So that was always priority number one. So I couldn't wait to get out there and just say, what do you want to play? Because I know both records. Because they told me both records, and I'm sure everyone was like, oh, Jesus, I don't know both records. I already did. Because I had an advanced copy of the Lizard since February, and this is now July. So I'd been listening to it for 5 months.
It hadn't been released, though, when you joined, right? I mean, it had been recorded, but it hadn't been released, or had it been released when you got there?
It had just been released.
Okay. But you had an advanced copy, okay.
Yeah. Jason, I think they'd already shot Hostile, and he was leaving to go edit Love's on the Way. Like as I was turning around to come back to Florida to audition.
Okay. And I just got to say this about the debut album. How did What You Say or Come Take Me Now not blow up on radio? Like what the?
Oh, I hear you. You look back, it's like also Hostile, the first single off of the Lizard. How did that just destroy radio?
Yes.
How?
Yeah.
But Love on the Way did.
Right.
And Bela had the greatest burn on anybody, and I borrowed it. We were at some radio station somewhere, and I was like, "Well, aren't you guys kind of playing it safe by releasing the ballad? You know, 'cause everyone's going to go for a love song." And Jason said, "Actually, I looked over there. You have the first single, Hostile Youth, but radio didn't play it."
Right. Right.
And the guy kind of went, "Sorry."
Right.
Great burn.
Yeah, it wasn't the band's fault that that was this, they
Right.
so and so I'll ask this now that we're bringing that up. When it started to blow up, and I'm sure everybody's excited as shit, but was there any thought of, shit, we're going to be labeled a ballad band?
Yeah, there was. I think that's why All I Want was released next, and it was kind of midline.
Yeah.
It's a rock song, but it's not a love story, but it's not a this, and so that was why when my second record with them, but when Water came around, we wanted to put I Love You out first as a single because that was the label pushing us, but then we were right behind it with One Step Closer, but we never got to film One Step. One Step was going to be really cool. Um, we had this plan of the band was playing in a very small room, and then it would just start filling up with people. So we were getting all our friends who were like bodybuilders and bikers and all this crazy bunch of stuff. But unfortunately, like so many other things, never quite getting quite to fruit. It was a good idea, it didn't get off the ground.
Um, what was it like being on the road and to have a hit single start to blow up?
Um, Matt pointed out early on. Matt was like, "We got a lot of secretaries in here, don't we?" And it was like, "Well, yeah, because ladies like the song about love, sure." But you started seeing more and more people come out, more and more people, and then crazy things started happening. Like we were on a bill with Sir Mix-a-Lot in Chicago. There's a Chicago high school that had a contest, and they voted for the favorite band who would play their lunchtime, and it was a dead tie, us and Sir Mix-a-Lot.
No shit.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. But yeah, we rode down an elevator with David Crosby on it. I mean, it was just your life's actually changed for me, all for the better. Some people don't do well with it. I think there was a lot of pressure. I think that Matt did not like.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt wanted us to be a dirty rock and roll band. Love's on the Way, although he can sing it well and he does just fine with a ballad. He wanted to be in a dirty rock and roll band. Whereas me, being the older guy in the band, going, "Careful, guys. Just remember, this is just a stroke of luck. And if we get it again, great. But lightning's in a bottle here. We got to go and work and get it." And,
Yeah.
sometimes people listen, and not like I'm some sort of sage, but having lived in LA, I saw too many people go out and have one hit and come back and be working, the regular job again.
You went out on the road with Extreme, who probably related really well because they had blown up on a ballad.
Exactly. Yep.
Was there any?
That's a great comparison because that's still to this day. People, as soon as Nuno starts playing that, the place goes bananas.
Yeah.
And same thing with us was on the way. As soon as Beeler starts that ninth chord, C sharp minor 9, bam, you can tell what he's going to do. The place goes nuts.
Yeah. When did you start noticing, hey, like Matt's there's tension, there's an issue happening?
Extreme Tour.
Okay.
Now you got to remember we've been out since July, so we came home from the Extreme Tour I think in May.
Okay.
So that's a long time to be out. I defy any other job other than men in prison to all get in one room and hang with each other for months at a time, every minute, every day.
Yep.
Our joke was you're breathing too loud. One of those. It's just I don't know of many other jobs like that. So I think it just started to wear on him particularly.
Yeah. I was in Iraq in 2003, and I'm not trying to equate that, but lived in a small tent with two guys. And I was like, if there's anything that I think might be like being in a band, it was that where you could never have any privacy. And anyway,
you are correct. Yes, my father was a Marine.
Okay.
And same thing. He was a Louis, first Louis, and he was artillery. So same thing. So
Yeah.
you were not getting away from these guys. I
Yeah.
was like, so I said, well, what do you do? He goes, find a way to get away from the guys. Just go, do something.
So when does he leave? Is it he finishes the tour like
Yes. And then we got to
did
do
he start
water.
recording Water or did he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll
Yep. We start recording water, and he's just not into it. So he's like, okay, I'm out. And I'm thinking to myself, God, the lyrics of this song seem really, really familiar. It's like, where's George Lynch at this point? Is he pulling Matt away too? Which is funny because Matt and George did do a thing later called Stonehouse.
okay.
But he, yeah, and I get it. He didn't want to do it, and he's being true to himself. But I'm thinking to myself, his timing couldn't be worse, dude. So we thought he leaves. We all come back from Stockholm to the U.S. We reconvene in Tampa and finish off the water record. And at one point, Atlantic wanted to let us go in the middle of recording it.
Okay.
And I went on a ride from Tampa to Orlando with Flom and our manager at the time. And I remember thinking to myself, why am I in the car? This is horrendous. I'm looking at them rip us up and down. Oh, they're going to, this is not going to, blah, blah, it's such a waste of time. I'm turning around and going back. And I remember saying, getting out of the car then in Orlando because I was going to meet my wife, now wife, at Disney World. And I have to play all this off because as I'm getting out of the car, they're saying, don't tell anybody. And this is before cell phones and stuff. So there wasn't that temptation to get on text somebody, holy shit, I'm in the car. No. So while I'm gone, which was like 2 or 3 days, they reconvene, take me back to Orlando, from Orlando to Tampa. And Ronnie Lottie, who was our engineer and co-producer on Lizard and Water, had sung all these background vocals. And now it was this, I Love You was now a pop single, you could tell. And
Yeah.
we kept the record deal.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it because I'm walking in and going, I got to tell them that, I got to pull myself, I got to do something like, well, fuck. They're gonna pull the plug right now. And they come in and listen. And I'm going, oh my God, talk about feel like you're shooting blanks. So I told the band later, and they're like, what? We were that close? I said, yeah. Do I look like I'm kidding? It was bad.
How did Matt? I mean, did Matt sit you guys down and go, look, I'm out, or did he just bail, or what happened? Like, when did you guys find out that he was really gone?
We were there for a couple weeks, and you could tell he was just not into it. So we had a couple of breakfast meetings at the hotel before we headed out to the studio,
Yep.
where he would just say, I don't want to do this," and Jason is trying to talk him into it because that's what Jason does.
Sure.
And I was saying my part, but again, it was a matter of I knew he was already gone. He checked out, so there's no point trying to pull him back. So now I'm trying to find a solution as opposed to make what is here work. And he decided that's it. So the awkward part was we all go to leave to go back to the States on the same day, and we're all on the same plane.
Oh, shit.
So we're all kind of hang out in the airport. And, hey, how you doing? I say, how are things? Oopsie.
So Flom decides not they're gonna stay with the project, but
Mhm.
was there any thought of we're gonna try to find a new singer, or was it just like Jason, you're up?
Um, I think in the band's mind was chasing up with. We did talk to Corey from Warrior Soul.
Corey
We
Clark?
took, yep, Corey Clark and Andrew Elt, of course, as you know. But Andrew wasn't keen. I think I don't know what the Bees were doing at that point, but we thought that might not be a great idea because Andrew and Matt look a lot alike. Like,
Right.
but so and what's his name? He was in a band out of St. Louis, King of the Hill.
Oh, Frankie Muriel?
Frankie, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So we would talk to him too. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah. So we were trying to be eclectic with who we chose,
Right.
but it didn't really become obvious until we heard the demos that Jason was writing, and when it still sounds like the band, you know. So I just learned all Matt's parts, and I sang them, trying to imitate Matt best I could, and played the bass at the same time.
Uh,
And for those of you out there who play bass and know Saigon Kick songs, just try and play Susie and sing at the same time. I earned every bit of that paycheck, let me tell you.
right, right. Shit, what was I gonna say?
I don't know. No, see, that's my effect on you. I've blown your brain out. My apologies.
God dang it, I fucking really got lost there for a second. Okay, so you start recording that album. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. When that thing came out, if I didn't know that Matt wasn't gone, I don't think I really would have noticed too big of a change.
Right. That's what I think made us go, we don't need another singer. You know, Jason's voice was such a part of the sound. It's like if you got rid of him, we would have been, okay, we'll find another guitar player. Matt just keeps going.
Yes.
You know, because there were songs that Matt sang solo, so it's not like that would have been unheard of.
Yes.
But he, yeah, I remember thinking to myself, like, God, what did I hear first? I think "Sentimental Girl" and "One Step" and "My Heart." I think it was the first ones I heard. I was like, sounds like us. Let's go.
Yeah. But the singer's gone, and you had a gold album, but the music scene is changing so much.
Again.
What's that?
Again.
When you're recording Water, are you guys like, all right, we're coming off a big hit, or are you like, oh fuck?
Both.
Okay.
Because you come off the big hit, and the label's like, okay, ready? We want another big hit. And the problem is you didn't try and write the big hit. You just did what you did. So we went in with the attitude of, we're just going to do what we do.
Yeah.
You know, if that means we have a muted trumpet solo on "But Sentimental Girl," that's what it means. You know, we're gonna be Saigon Kick. And luckily for me, I understood what the band looked like. So it wasn't me going, what the hell? You want to do what? You want to have a gospel choir in this? What are you, crazy? No, I was like, yeah, sure. How many? Let's go. Makes sense to me. Beatle and Queen fan, so you know, it's not like you got to make me think out of the box. I do it pretty easily.
I love. I don't know if you. I just did a video on the Water album, released a couple days ago. I love that album. I thought "I Love You" was fantastic. "Fields of Rape" I feel like is one of the greatest ballads of all time.
Yeah.
So was there any and you kind of addressed it first, but I'll just like was it the label who said "I Love You" was going to be the first video? You kind of addressed this before, but was there any apprehension about that? Like, we're going to do another ballad right away?
Yeah. I mean, because we were thinking, oh God, you know, what if this doesn't work? And because the hardcore fans had hung with the band, you know, and they knew what the band was about, so they got Sergeant Steve, and they got Torture, and they got Fields of Rape, like you said, which was the original title of the record.
Which was the original? That's right.
Yeah, that's you get the difference between European audiences and American ones. They don't understand rape was a flower, not an act of violence.
Right.
But I get it. You know.
Yeah.
That's one of the marketing things where I went, yeah, they might have a point here. I'm just saying. But yeah, when you come off of that and they want a hit,
yeah,
and they know you write a hit that has melody and love songs, and that's right. Well, write another one of those. And why don't you put love in the title too?
Yeah.
But again, you kind of go, well, was it Doug Morris, I think, said he picked 3 songs that were going to be hits. He said it was "I Love You," On and On, and a third one. And those were the ones that hit over in Indonesia. "I Love You" was a #1 single in Indonesia, and everyone's like, ah ha ha, in Indonesia, it's hilarious. 300 million people can't be wrong. Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. Like when we had it live, where Jason kind of just started this guitar figure real quietly. As soon as the band came in, that piano melody started, the place erupted. So Doug was right, but that's one thing I never really understood is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a hit song, you know, because so much of it is songwriting craft, sure, but so much of it is just the emotion of the moment, or again, back to fashion. You know, how many songs now do you look at and you go, in the scope of their catalog, that song really makes sense, but at the time, good God, that was a mess. They
Right.
should have never have done that.
Right. Right. Um, I just saw on YouTube a video of you guys playing On and On in Indonesia. There's like 40,000 people there or
Oh
something.
yeah,
It's insane.
crazy. We were the first rock band in after Metallica. So yeah, I had a bodyguard. It was crazy. We had police escorts. We get off the plane, and it's like 30 hours of getting there. And we got to the corner of the world that was the farthest from Miami, I think.
Yeah.
And we get out, and we hop in the limo. And Phil and I, the week before, had been working at a video store together, right? So we get out, we hop in the limo, and all the way out of the airport, there are people lining the exit path with our faces on T-shirts. And I'm just going, am I seeing this right?
Right.
And the answer was yes.
And they did nothing, but I mean, it did nothing over in America. I mean, I don't know. I
No,
thought right away.
nothing. Zip. Zero. And that, there you go. There's a label again, just taking their hands off the wheel and going, well, I don't know. I think also at that point, Michael Douglas was, we did well. I think Nina Cherry was on the label and she'd done well. And I think he got distracted by something in the movie industry. And he didn't want to play with that toy anymore, which was okay. Yeah.
Right.
But
What was the live dynamic a lot different with Jason singing? I mean, he hadn't been the front man before, was it, or did it feel great when he was fronting the band, or what was the
it,
difference?
it worked for me. I mean, we had Pete Dombrowski all the way over on the left. So
Yeah.
you had him taking where Jason usually was. Jason was on the center, you had me on the right. So to me, it felt fine because
Yeah.
I heard what I wanted to hear out of the band, because the band, no matter what, was always good. Our buddy Rick Sanders, who played for the band Naked Rhythm, and now he's Elvis Schmeidow as their drum tech. Rick gave me one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten, which is, even you guys, when you're off, you're on.
Right.
So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, I'll take that. And you go back and listen to stuff that's been popped up on YouTube. It's like, wow, even I go, God, that's actually really good. Because we're just four guys playing as
Yeah.
opposed to a bunch of stuff that you add now. We figured out ways around it, and we worked really hard to be really good.
Right. I'll just say in the video I did on Water, I wasn't a big fan of On and On. The guy I did the video with, that's his favorite song, but I thought it was too far of a left turn for me. I'm just gonna let you know. But
Well, let me clear the decks on that one too. A lot of people compliment me for my bass playing on that song, but that's not me. I play I play guitar on that song.
okay.
So I'm playing guitar. Jason's playing the bass.
Okay.
So,
All
but
right.
it's live. It's exactly how we played it. It was just now when we played it, in front of people at shows, we went back to our usual.
Okay.
But yeah, that is not me on bass. Someone just complimented me on Facebook. Oh, I love that bass line. Hey, thanks.
Okay.
Not me, but thank you.
Right. Okay, so I love that album. It does well overseas, doesn't do anything in America. When do you find out that it's over with Third Stone Atlantic?
I think that was when we were on the road for the Water tour.
Okay.
They said, you're out of here. And it was so much. We were in Boston instead of in Washington. So apparently these colonial port cities want nothing to do with my bands. So we got the word, yeah, you're going home. And we did. We turned around, went home. But this time we were able to kind of go out and record another record for Pony Canyon, which got a license in the U.S. So we were able to go out and do what Cold Sweat didn't, which was go get another deal and record it and do well in the rest of the world as opposed to just the U.S. Again, because as you pointed out, it was changing again, So, I mean, I remember we all went from, hair that was halfway down our back to, crew cuts.
Yeah.
And it was fine with me because I was, kind of sick of all that hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, we watching it change again was fantastic. You just go, wow, there's just no guessing anything.
Right.
at all. Because what I think overtook it at the time was Hootie and the Blowfish. I
Yeah.
think that was the biggie.
I was
Never would have guessed that.
the mid 90s were just chaotic. You could never figure out what was happening.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
You had, Power Man 5000, and you had, Three Doors Down.
yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah. Um, was there a sense of were you guys aggravated that you got lumped in with bands like Poison and Warrant because you were so far away from that, but you just and I don't know why, but you've always kind of been lumped in there, and I think unfairly, even though I love those bands, I really do, but it just didn't seem like it was a good fit.
Well, I think it's a chronological thing too, because if
Yeah.
you look at Alice Cooper, and um, he came out literally right around Woodstock. I can't see Alice Cooper playing Woodstock, but that's his era. Sabbath, same thing. Sabbath was what, 70? That's the height of bubblegum pop and glammy stuff.
Yeah.
No, but chronologically, it sticks out. Now, here's what, to your point, what I find interesting is the fans who were buying records didn't care because they were in the moment buying the music they liked. So it was the record companies going, who can we sell, and to what, and to how, and when,
Right.
as opposed to, because they, to their credit, they're not some sort of soothsayer where they can see what's going to happen next. They have no idea. And notice that every trend is a surprise.
Yeah.
At least earlier on. I think it's a little less now,
Yeah.
where they try and manufacture pop stars again.
Yeah.
But back then, like I said, the punks came out and just destroyed the prog bands.
Yep.
And then from there, what came out of punk? Well, Van Halen.
Yeah.
And then Van Halen starts kind of fading out. Well, what comes out of that? Well, the grunge.
Yeah.
Plaid shirts and jeans,
Yeah.
cut off at the knee.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of kills them? Well, sensible grunge, like 3 Doors Down and Cracker, and who's the other one? Bare Naked Ladies and Collective Soul, and
Yeah.
where now it's back to a song as opposed to an attitude.
Right.
So like I said, it's not really fair to me to kind of throw it on the labels, but they didn't see the Beatles coming either.
Yeah. Right. And when Van Halen came out, they were like, "Oh, that's just a dinosaur." Like they're playing dinosaur rock, and they become the biggest thing anyway. Yeah.
I never understood that. I mean, because it just me and the other guys I knew who bought that record, when this is like nothing we've ever heard. So some
Right.
idiot guy, and I've read the reviews
Yeah.
now because they're still in print. Those guys are fucked.
Yeah.
The idea that they're old and tired and like Black Sabbath and like
Yeah.
what? This is like anti-Black Sabbath. I mean, they toured together. It sounds great, but no way, nothing like it at all, at all.
Yeah. So you go to CMC for Devil in the Details, and CMC was kind of where, I mean, I salute them for giving bands an option when the major labels weren't.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about signing with CMC and making Devil in the Details?
Well, it had already been done because we had gotten the chunk of money from Pony Canyon, which is the Japanese label. So we licensed it to CMC. Now, Tom was, I think, really into it, as he pointed out. So he wanted to make sure the genre was well represented in an era where it wasn't by the biggies, because I think at the time you had these are the people on CMC: the Pope, Dee Snider, and us. So I remember we were doing there's a stalwart metal station in New Jersey called WSOU, which is at Seton Hall. It was a college show, and Catholic. And I remember getting on the radio and saying, "Yeah, well, Tom's going to be working on the new tour for this. We're going to have our own package tour." The guy took the bait. Well, yeah. I said, "Yeah, it's us, the Pope and Dee Snider, and we're going to call it Lollapalooza." Unbeknownst to me, there's one of the priests behind the guy who was conducting the interview, and he was not happy about that one.
Right.
He was smoking a turd in purgatory for that one, McLernon.
Right. And that's I love Devil in the Details.
It's my favorite. I mean, I'm partial to it, as I would say, but yeah, I think it worked really well because the band did well on the first record because they were able to go out and write it and play it live. So I remember saying to Jason and Phil, look, let's write a bunch of songs and then go out and play them live.
Yeah.
So and then when we come back to record it, it's going to sound boom, tight, focused. We'll throw out the parts that don't work,
Right.
and it worked. It was so that's why I really like that record, and it's the only one I know of that's got a samba and a punk tune on the same one.
Right.
By the way, All Around is live.
Okay. Really?
Yep, we get asked that. Yep, that's yep. The only thing I overdubbed was the count off. That's me. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, the whole thing's live.
And I mean, you didn't get were you supposed to get a video for that? But there was never a video, right?
Yeah, we were supposed to shoot a video for Eden.
For Eden.
And I don't know. Again, I think if you look at the mathematics of it, the business model, I don't know how much CMC could have
Right.
ponied up for us. Now, in these days, again, we can get our iPhones and go shoot a video, in 2 days, flirting around. I live in Charleston. We go down the beach. We go downtown. We do whatever we want. Boom, done for nothing. I was just watching Robert Rodriguez, and he shot the movie El Mariachi for $7,000.
Yeah.
And we probably could have done something like that if we had the technology now.
Right.
But
I know Warrant put out Ultraphobic on CMC. They did 2 videos for that album.
yeah, but you got to think though, they were Warrant for one. For two, they probably had a little bit of a backlog of money they could spend on hoping to get it back.
Right.
Whereas we didn't have that. We were all in, so we spent every dime we had on everything. Smartly, but that's what worked out.
What did you guys do for touring for Water? I mean, did you go out and give it a year or what?
We did the U.S. and then that's where it just kind of dried up, and then we kind of rebounded with the Indonesian stuff. Then we went to Indonesia, Singapore, and Japan.
Yeah.
And then when Double came around, we played the States and Europe, and we did a bunch of acoustic shows in Europe. I remember doing that. But the cool part about doing this, I don't know about the cool part, but it definitely made me think, wow, Henry Rollins was right. Because I remember reading Get in the Van and thinking, wow, man, that guy that's a worker. He knows how to go out and make his band work.
Yeah.
And that was us. We did something like 48 shows in 52 days or something.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was nonstop. Now we all got sick, but because everyone, and that's 30 years ago. So we're 30 years old, and everyone's getting sick after about 6 weeks. Probably lasts about 6 days now.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I've got a hook, I'm going to cough and everything. But it was cool though, because we were playing well every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
Yeah.
And it didn't get to the point. Now, if we had done that for 2 years, it probably would have been in each other's throats.
Right.
But it was just enough.
I'll ask this now because, like I said, Phil Varone, he's been very upfront about his addictions.
Yeah.
The Waking Up Dead documentary. I mean, the guy's an open book. And I'm gonna sneeze, I think. Fuck, sorry.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Shit. Come on. Okay, I'll edit that out, I think. What was it like? Was he crazy, or was he like indulging then? And maybe were you or was it pretty tame?
No, well, considering that's a multi-level question. Here's what I'll say. Moving to Los Angeles, I had made a pact with myself never to do cocaine.
Okay.
And I didn't do it in Madison either. So I had a friend of mine, actually, Ralph, who was in Sergeant Friday. We were talking about too long ago. And he goes, dude, no one could believe you held to your word and you never did it. So when I was in Saigon Kick on the Lizard Tour, Matt maybe smoked a little pot. Phil would drink one Michelob and pass out. So when he developed a cocaine problem later, it was like, you got one now? Really? It's like, I don't, and I could see the change in his personality. So I was like, what is going on, dude?
Yeah.
And then he told me, I was like, wow, I've never seen this part of you before. And I gotta say, I don't like it. So
if you can answer, when did that happen? I mean, was it?
Oh, it was well after he was in Saigon Kick. I think that was I think in the Skids when he did that.
Oh, okay. I knew that for the but so that wasn't going on during Water
No,
or he wasn't doing coke or anything. Okay.
nothing. That's why it was such a surprise to me. I was like, huh? You didn't smoke dope, didn't do coke. No one shot up anything.
Yeah.
So, and again, give Phil 2 beers and he's giggling by himself and passes out. You know, that's what I liked about that band so much. We were busy, too busy working too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, Robin Williams makes that joke. Well, he made that joke about cocaine is God's way of telling you you're making too much money. Because you usually don't see poor bands all fucking gagged out of the mind. It's ones that were got a little. But yeah,
Right.
I moved to LA. I was like, I'm not doing it. And I saw one of the guys I moved out with, who's dead now. He fell into the party scene and just it destroyed him. I couldn't believe it. It's like we worked so hard to get out of here. This was your idea, and you're gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
But that's when you see addiction grab somebody and bring them down. Terrible.
I've had my alcohol issues and been 20 years, but yeah. Amen.
Well done.
Yeah. Was it
And,
so, was
and
it,
alcohol is that's a dangerous one for musicians because it's kind of like currency.
yeah,
Like we can't pay you, but here's 2 cases of beer.
right.
And so, oh, okay, and then it's also one of the few professions where you're almost expected to get it as a habit,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't think doctors would, they'd get him help. The guys in bands, I've always said, Elvis, Elvis probably would have lived another 20 years if they knew how to get him into rehab by now, or Keith Moon,
Yeah.
they'd be alive.
Yeah. And everywhere you go, every night, everybody wants to party with you. You know, that it probably gets hard to keep saying, no, I'm good. Eventually, like, fuck it. It's
Yeah.
everybody wants to buy it for you or give it to you. I mean, anyway.
Yeah, because they want to say they partied with you.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, cocaine. I mean, I had my share of family members who went down from heroin and addiction to coke and other things. And my cousin Tommy was in jail at 17 for holding up a liquor store to support his habit, and he died later of OD. So and he was one of my favorite cousins too. So it was a matter of I saw that early on coming up, and I was like, you know what? This is just a bad recipe. I don't want anything to do with it. So I can bet my mom and dad were kind of like, are you shitting me? He must be a musician. Oh my God, we're going to lose him. He's the oldest. That's it. Say goodbye now. But I went, like I said, I went out and never did it. Haven't done it. Don't want to.
Yeah. Okay. After Devil in the Details and what happens after that? Because does the band split? I mean, I know like you did Bastards in '99, but what happens to Devil in the Details?
After Devil, we start recording for Bastards, and I think Clooney Ken got the idea that they wanted Matt back. So, for whatever reason, so we got Matt to do 2 shows. One was called the Zeta Festival, one was the Button South, and it didn't work. It just flat out didn't work. So I was like, okay, you know what? That's it. We had a daughter, and she was just about a year old, and this is summer of '97. And I was like, I'm out of here. That's it. I can't take it anymore. Goodbye. So that's why I moved here to Charleston. So I entered the business world and put on a suit and tie and was amazed at how well I did.
Okay.
That was the part I couldn't figure out because I always shunned that type of lifestyle. It's like, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And I'm not part of that. And I don't know how to be part of it because my personality isn't like it anyway. But I was shocked at how well I did.
Yeah. Did your family have some sort of business or?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So then what leads you back to Bastards, or was that after Bastards?
That was just before it came out. So I think I'm on 2 songs on Bastards,
Okay.
Big Shot and Nearer.
Okay.
Phil, I think, is on Nearer too.
Okay.
So we record a whole record, and then, but like only a couple things came out because you get Rick in there, and then you get more stuff from Pete, and I think they wanted to make it a little more indicative of the times. So
Okay.
they just probably figured it was easier to start over.
Sure. Was there any animosity or like I mean, it seems like you were probably still good with Jason.
Oh yeah.
That right.
Again, because he knew, and I was clear about it, that it was more circumstantial than anything else. Because, and he just had a daughter as well, so it was a matter of I wanted to make sure I saw myself sliding into debt. You know, I'd already had a day job, but as I said to a friend, I'm too smart to be this poor, so I got to go do something here. So my father just said, "Hey, come on up here. I'll train you in the business, and you can go from there." And I did.
And how long did you do that for?
Ooh, 6, 7 years.
Okay.
And then I started. Then that's when kind of hard drives and remote ability to exchange files was starting to get easier and easier. So Eric Gammons from Cold Sweat
Yeah.
was starting to break into TV and film. So doing promos and doing in episode music and that sort of stuff. So he said, "Hey, you want to give it a shot? You can't think like a songwriter. You have to think a certain way, segmentally,
Yeah.
but you want to give it a shot." And I remember saying, "Sure." So I gave him like 10 things. 3 or 4 didn't work because of that. I was still thinking like a song,
Yeah.
but I got some on Conan's show, and I got some on like Desperate Housewives or something. I was like, "Oh, hey, look at this."
Okay.
No problem, and no band to argue with. So
Right.
awesome.
So is there a point over those years where you're in the business world where you're like, okay, I'm paying the rent and everything, but I kind of miss that music lifestyle.
I can say I miss the music, the lifestyle. As I got older, I'd have friends who come into town, and I'd see them, and they just so beat up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, you're just earning every cent of this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like having an NBA away game every night of the week, you
Right.
know. And
Flying at a private jet and getting $200 per diem.
right, yeah. I mean, because no, we're in a van and we're schlepping it out and we're humping gear and eating shitty food and you're in Detroit and you go, oh, I don't feel well. Oh, look, I have strep throat. Okay, but now we're in Flint, so I got to find
Yeah.
a doc in the box to fix me up. Well, what
Yeah.
do you mean you don't have insurance? No, I do, but just little things like that you don't think of until you get a real job, live in the real world, and you kind of see how people deal with problems when they have constants in their life to be able to solve them. Whereas on the road, where everything seems like is the batting cage, and you're down at the end with no bat.
Right. Right. Um, you did get back together with Saigon Kick in 2012, though. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously not on the hey, we're going to record albums and go out in the bus, but you started playing with them. What leads to that reunion and what made it right for you?
um, I think. Well, I remember running into Mark Mendoza, Mark the Animal Mendoza
Twisted Sister.
of Twisted, and I ran into him at the NAMM show, and he's like, "Look, I'm telling you right now." And I mean, Mark is I love him. He's so New Yorker. He's just like, "I'm going to give you some advice. Here's what you guys should do. This is what Twisted does. Go do a couple of shows in the summertime, do some fundraisers, and do some festivals, and then get out." He's like, "Do not get on a bus because you guys will never talk to each other again." And so, taking that advice going into it, I was like, "All right, what can we do?" So, when we had the anniversary of the Lizard rolling around, we just kind of stuck a feeler out there in Tampa, and it blew up. So, all right, so we did a couple of shows, 4 or 5,
Yeah.
and then I think that came from actually the impetus of that came from Larry Moran, who does the Monsters on the Mountain and Monster Rock cruises. So it was the cruise was the thing you had to convince Jason the most of to try and do. He didn't want to do it, and now he's been on every one since. He can't get off. It's like he can't get off. He's like a sailor. You're not getting him off of a boat.
What was Matt involved in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, Matt was there for all that. Yeah. So and it was fun because we got to go back for the live shows on land anyway, and kind of see what people had missed. And then as soon as Larry walked me through how it was going to go, because he was with Poison and Cinderella, and he said, "Look, both those bands had broken up. I saw the reformation. I was right there for it." So he laid out 4 or 5 steps. But the last one was, as soon as you guys play the first song, all bullshit will have been cleared out of the air. And I'm thinking to myself, that's too much of a magic trick. Is that really going to work? But by God, if he wasn't right with both bands, he said, do not be confused by the anxiety and fear and snippy comments in the air. That has nothing to do with the band. That has everything to do with everyone's nervous and they don't know how it's going to sound. And once you guys play, it'll all bullshit will have been wiped out. And he was dead right. It was amazing.
Okay.
And both bands, to me, that's the fun part for me. I got to play in both and hear both. And I was reminded, like, right, that's why I loved being in these bands. These bands can play and the songs are good and the humor is, there and the personalities are there. Everyone's got their quirks and some are more magnified now. But I liked being here for a reason. I gave a lot of my life to it and a lot of my energy and a lot of my dedication for a reason. I loved them both.
Yeah. Is anything going, or is there anything for you going on with Saigon Kick?
With Saigon, no. I think they're doing a show in Atlanta in the fall.
Okay.
Well, fall. Now it's gonna be August tomorrow, so it's almost the fall.
Okay.
And then Cold Sweat. I was going to do the Monsters of Rock cruise, but I had a bit of a tonsillectomy fun,
Yeah.
so I wasn't able to do it. That's the first gig I ever canceled that I couldn't get to from Cold Sweat, and that was a weird feeling. But
And RFK Media.
hey, look at that! I told Ron and Aaron, they're Aaron's kind of the executive producer, but he's kind of their glue at the label. And I said, dude, I'll say it once, but I'll shut up. I don't get the title. He's like, what do you mean? It's Unburied Alive. I'm like, I don't get it. This will be my Spinal Tap moment. I'll be as confused as Nigel. I don't get it. But oh well. But yeah, so that produced that. That was fun. Produced the fifth.
Yeah.
Cold Sweat. We can give you any exclusives. We do have a new song that is coming out. Already mixed. My buddy Eric Bass, who is the bass player in Shinedown, he mixed it for us. And so that will be coming out. I'm waiting to get something from Mr. Cathy, which is no pressure on him. I'm stating the fact. But so we do have a new song coming out, which will be fun. Because that was a collaboration of Ant and I going, what about this? And Mark and Anthony testing this, and then Mark and Eric and Roy, and me and Roy. And so it was kind of this virtual rehearsal room to get it done. But it worked. Good, catchy ballad, or not a ballad, like big rock anthem.
Okay. Do you have a title, or can you give it out yet?
Sure. Loud and Forever.
Loud and Forever. And when do you think that might be ready, or for the rest of us?
Literally, I mean, soon, because we got the fifth. Fifth is out, right? Yep. I know Ron and Aaron have bad marriage, so they're working with that right now. And the Cold Sweat is literally just waiting to find the right spot, and out it goes. So soon. I know I sound like the Messiah. When is he coming? Soon.
Sure.
But yeah, Roy has to fix one thing on it. People are like, no, I know I'm going to shit for it, but live records are completely live. Okay. And here's why: you trip over things. You move your head away from the mic, and if you're watching it, you can't tell, but if you're listening, you can tell. So there was one line where Roy does this thing where he pulls the mic away from his face for control for the volume. But when you see it, it looks great, sounds fine. But when you're listening, it goes, hey. So,
right.
Oh well.
All right.
I gotta fix that. There's one line.
Okay. And when that comes out, I'll play it on Rock 101 KLOL. So
I will get it to you.
Awesome.
Day beforehand.
And I know, and shoot, and I know I'm keeping you on for a long time. So
Dude, whatever you need. Go ahead.
okay, thank you. So I know you did an album called Canal
Yep.
in
Yep.
2023, and
Yep.
I just discovered that, and I was listening to it, and I'm not bullshitting you. I was like, and you're singing vocals on that.
Yep.
And what was the genesis behind that?
Well, now I know you have CDs. I will send you one. So we'll suss that out when we're done here. Second record is done, by the way.
Oh, no shit.
Yep. Yeah. I like to, especially now. I'm not sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
But the genesis of that was I gave myself a goal. I want to, if Thin Lizzy was around now, I want to write an entire record and just hand it to him and go, here you go, done.
Yeah.
So I wanted to sound like Thin Lizzy. I didn't want to be like Lenny Kravitz where I was trying to create an era. I wanted more of the songs and the feel and the subject matter because Thin Lizzy always had really cool ideas for songs. I mean, it wasn't just, even their Hey Baby songs weren't very Hey Baby,
Right.
So that's what I did. And I got Colin DeBrule as a guitar player here in Charleston, just love him to death. And I never have to tell Colin anything. It's like, okay, I hear this, go. And he sends it back over and it's great. 3 or 4 drummers played on it. So it's very Spinal Tap, except they're all alive, which is good. And yeah, I had a great time doing it. And Eric mixed that one for me as well because I love this one. I want to hear it out there. I was like, okay, so here's the little story. They're writing for, I think, Planet Zero. And to take a break, he was mixing Take It All, I think. Is it Take It All or what might have been? One of the two. And Brent came in.
Brent from Shinedown.
Yes. So Brent comes in and he goes, hey, what's that? And he goes, it's Chris's thing. And he's like, well, let's hear it. He plays it for me. And he said he really liked it. So I'm there a couple of days later and I'm listening and Brent comes in and I'm like, oh, shit. Because he's pretty good at his job, just as an understatement, right? And he goes, hey, man, play it. So Eric plays it, and I'm listening going, oh, God, he's going to just shred me here, and I'll have to take it if he doesn't like it. Because I know him well enough that he's not going to, Brent will waste your time. He's kind of like Flom. If I don't like it, I'm going to tell you. If I like it, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So Eric hit stop, and he goes, wow, man, I really like your voice. It's very different. Doesn't sound like anybody. I really love the tune. It's great. I was like, wow, hot dog. Thank you, sir. I mean, this is, again, somebody who makes his living as the singer, and he's written a few hits. I want someone who does that. It's like having a good golf swing and have, someone come up and say, hey, man, like, I don't know, who'd be good. John Daly comes up and says, hey, man, you can really hit that ball. Well done. It means a lot.
Yeah.
And for me, going back and doing the second record, I now relax singing because that was the part when you're backup singers. I have been all of my professional career. The lead singer has got a different voice and a different feel and a different tone, and you've got to get it. So that's something I think I got now, which I didn't have before. So the second record has got a lot more of what I call decent singing. But I just tried to do a couple things last week, and my voice is still kind of in Peter Brady land where I was singing and I just went, hey, okay, now we're doing that. It's okay. Got a couple lines and then went for a high note. And, oops.
How do you get hooked up with Eric and Barry from Shinedown and end up meeting Brent? How does that come about?
Eric and I have been friends for about 15 years, well before he did his Shinedown tour of duty. We were just buddies in town in Charleston. He's a lifelong native, and we just hit it off. I mean, we're very different. I'm very outgoing, and he is not.
Okay.
So I think we both kind of play off of that. So and he's very generous with his knowledge. Because I came in as being kind of a band guy and a writing guy, but not much of a producing and mixing guy. Right. And he had been a band guy for a long time and then went into producing mixing land and then got the Shinedown gig. So once he was in on that, I mean, he doesn't forget where he came from. So then Eric would just kind of pull me in. Hey, you want to play guitar on this song? So I played on one song on Attention, Attention. I forget what it is. Sang a bunch. I forget what I've sung on. So here, just because I'd be working at the studio in my own room. Like, hey, want to come down and sing? Sure. So I just come down. My daughter and my son are on a song. So he's always included us, which is really great. And he's just, like I said, he's just a really good dude. So when he offered to mix the record, I was like, I am not going to say no. Same with the Cold Sweat tune. I went to him, I said, dude, I got this going on with it. I got this going on. He said, you want me to mix it? And I said, well, yeah, but no. I mean, I don't want you to, you're in the middle doing your own thing. And he goes, no. He's like, what's it like? I said, it sounds like a rock band playing in a room, good rock band. And cool, let me hear it. And he goes, okay, done. And he had it back to me like that afternoon.
All right.
Wow, we were that easy, huh? He goes, yeah, it was great. Just sounded like really good band playing.
Okay.
So he like I said, he's just a very introverted, normal guy. I mean, he has his struggles like everybody else. I've watched them go from, he joined on the Sound of Madness tour to, they just played Madison Square Garden. They're playing the Forum in LA, I think Sunday. I'm like, dude, that is like the best of the best. Way to go. But we still have, just two dummies trying to make each other laugh relation too,
Right.
But yeah, he's another example. He just kept after it. I mean, he just worked so hard. When he auditioned for Shinedown, he auditioned on bass and guitar.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he got the bass gig. Yeah.
When is the new Canal?
As soon as I can get my voice back too.
Okay.
I mean, it's all sung, but there's some patchy things that I've heard. So I'd say in the next couple months for sure.
Awesome.
But it's I'll get you hard copy.
And the first one is called Crash Burn Rebirth, and I just discovered it. I listened to these two songs over and over again that were on YouTube last night. And I was like, damn, I didn't know what to expect. And it was just freaking really kick-ass hard rock. And I'm not just saying that. So
Cool, thank you. Well, that's what I wanted. I mean, because I like hard rock. I like metal too.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Graham Van Gal, I like that. But it's hard rock is its own genre to get right. It used to be called metal. But it's not anymore, but that's what we used to call AC/DC metal.
Yeah.
They're a rock band.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what I like, the guys you got going behind you. Dirty Looks is a rock band to me.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Just love it.
I want to talk about your health issues, but there are multiple other music projects that you've been in. So is there any other that you would like to briefly talk about before we get into some of the things that have gone with your health?
Sure.
I've got Planet Boom with Phil Varone.
Yep. So we did that. That was fun because that was one of the downtimes of the band, Saigon.
Yeah.
So Phil pulled me into that band and just said, "Hey, you want to play?" And we all hit it off. So Ron Keel and Aaron Fisher again. We've been talking about trying to maybe do some of the stuff that's on there. So that was fun to get that out. It's like you're waiting, finally it's done. And we're both so happy with it because it just sounds like us. It sounds like a really great band. And none of it sounded forced or out of time or out of touch. I was like, it sounds really good. So then I also did the fifth, which is Roy Cathy's band.
Yes.
And produced that, wrote a bunch of stuff that's on. I didn't write. It's like my name looks like it's all over crazy. Like I've been dominating the record writing process, but I haven't. It's just I have the longest name, so it looks like barging in.
Right.
But I mean, it was fun to work with Roy because he trusted me. He didn't say, no, I'm going to do it this way because I sing this way and that's that. No, he said, all right, how do you want to go? What do you hear? Oh, I hear this. Okay, cool. All right, can you do this? Yeah. And that's very much how our recording sessions went. But the band was so good that I was able to kind of slave drive and just go, okay, do it again, but you'll get it this time because they were so well rehearsed. It didn't take more than 2 or 3 takes for a song. they just rip right through and get done. And Justin, the guitar player, was just prepared for all of his leads and all his little bits.
Right.
So it wasn't like, wait, let me find it. And you're looking at your watch for 2 hours while he's trying to figure something out. No, he knew he wanted. So everybody did phenomenally well on it. Loved it. They're easy to work with. Great band.
Yeah.
And, Roy's really got a powerhouse behind him there.
Yeah. Did you do some stuff with Jason Beeler and owl stretching?
We did. We call him, I guess what he's doing now, we call that owl stretching first because I'm such a Python fan. That was owl stretching time was going to be the one of the original titles of Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Oh, okay.
So, but we had done that, and actually we had done a reworking of the Lizard. He, Rick Sanders, and myself. So it was just one of those things that I think what happened was Saigon started getting busy, and that's why that never went anywhere. And Beeler has the attention span of 2 seconds, so he's got to stay busy. So and he can write a song quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that his stuff is constantly evolving, and he's got songs that are coming out now. So that when we did that one, he's like, well, I want to do more. Well, but we're not there. I'll figure something out. So okay, go do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him tomorrow. I'm going to tell him you shit all over him. I'm just kidding.
He'll go. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Anything else that I missed musically that you want to?
Yeah. One thing.
And feel free.
When people always go, "Are you kidding me?" And I say, "No." I'm working on my 5th surf record. It's all instrumental surf stuff called Big Mick and the Curl. So I literally, before we hopped on this call, I went through all the songs on the 5th record, and I've got because Eric Rickard, who's one of the drummers on the KLOL record, he's going to play drums on it and mix it up. Mark Janzeisen's played most of them, but Rickard is going to do that because his favorite live record is Adventures in Japan, so he understands surf, which is a big part. So I just literally went through the entire record. It's like, okay, this needs this, and this needs this. So I'm making my notes for him. So that will probably, I'd say that'll probably be done by the end of the year.
Is that, and you say it's just instrumental?
Yeah.
Okay. Big Mick and the Curl, and I had that in my notes. I just was like, so okay, I got it. You have a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, as best like you say, I got a lot of voices.
Right.
But I mean, this is why Saigon Kick made sense to me, is because sure, why not? Like part of the reason I think Ed Van Halen came out and grabbed me and Ant to play one day was we would go by his rehearsal room, and Ant and I would, and we just play. We were always about 2 hours early, Ant and I. So we want to play. Let's do side 1 of Alice Cooper's Killer. Okay, we do it. All right, let's do side 2 of Hard Day's Night. Play it. Zeppelin, AC/DC, right? Rush, anything. We just, because we like to play, and nothing was out of bounds. Yeah. So that's why I think bands like, I love Cold Sweat, and it's definitely a versatile band. Yeah. But Saigon Kick was definitely the craziness that escaped my musical toy box.
Okay. So if Rachel Bolan bailed on Skid Row right now, would you be there if they asked?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd have to get I'll get on my Rage Voodoo doll. Oh, my left hand hurts. Oh.
He's like walking around going, what the fuck?
Exactly. Oh, my arm.
All right. In 2019, and I think this is when but in 2019, you were diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Yep.
I can't even imagine. It must have been scary. I'll stop now. How did it, like, when did you start thinking something was wrong, and what did you do from there?
Well, another thing we forgot to talk about was Mother Mary, was a band that I did. And I was editing the guitar solos because I had to. My left index finger, ring finger was just like lagging behind. I was like, what is this? And I wasn't getting tremors. It was just kind of weak, and it might twitch, but not really, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So I went to a friend of mine who's a doctor for something else, and my left hamstring would it looked like I had restless leg. So, and I got to my doctor. I usually go right around my birthday for physicals. You can just, why not, right?
Yeah.
I know I have to go. So he goes, yeah, it kind of looks like restless leg. I've got that too. But if it's still bugging you in a month or two, come back and see me. So my other friend was like, hey, well, I don't know what's going on with your leg, but you should go get that checked. So I did. I called the doctor, my GP, and said, hey, this is what's going on. He said to call. He goes, oh, good. Come in now. Now, when your doctor says come in now, that's usually not, I have shepherd's pie for you, honey. How cold would you like your beer? No, it's probably not going to be fun news.
Yeah.
So he put me through a couple of informal Parkinson's testing. He goes, yeah, I got news for you. He's like, I think you have Parkinson's, but I'll set up with a neurologist and you can verify. And I remember being so angry because, like with the cocaine thing, I'm very particular about my health. The first half marathon I ran, I won my age group. So I'm a bit of a freak. Well, remember I told you I was a jock before I was a musician.
Yeah.
And that has not stopped. So, I thought, Jesus, I've worked this hard. Pardon me. I've worked this hard, and I get this.
Yeah.
What, are you kidding me? And my doctor goes, well, he's like, don't worry. It's not. And he was right. It's not as bad as you think. And what he meant by that was, and I've learned this in time, most people's perception of what that disease is about 25 years old.
Right.
Or they think it's Michael J. Fox right now,
Right.
after 30 years, right? So I was angry. So I went and I had it verified with this thing called a DAT scan where they inject radioactive stuff into your head, and it's kind of weird. But they did that and then confirmed it, and the dopamine centers of my brain were not producing enough. So you have Parkinson's, sir. But I have garden variety, whatever Parkinson's. It's like breaking your leg. I didn't shatter it. I didn't, crush it. I just broke it.
Okay.
So from there, I went on a couple medications and they didn't really work. I was having what they call off periods, that's when your medication is not working, on or off. So I didn't have much ons. So I went into my doctor downtown at MUSC, which is the Medical University of South Carolina. And he said, look, is that comfortable? Because I was just it was just like, it didn't feel fun. I called it the Stevie Wonder. My head always looked like it was moving, and it just,
Yeah.
And he goes, well, we can do this process called DBS, which stands for deep brain stimulation, which is where they put two cannula in your head, and they look like meat thermometers, and they run down to a battery here, cord like this, runs across, and there's a battery here that I have to charge every week, which is fine. But man, I'm telling you, this is my hands, right? That was not possible before this thing.
Okay.
So it gave me back. The worst thing was watching my ability to play just erode. I just couldn't do it. Just could not. I was having to rewrite bass lines for the Cold Sweat shows. And I felt like I was just cheating people. So I brought a guitar to the very first one called dial-up session, which is where they get in and they tune the battery to the cannula. And it's crazy because you can see it in your head. You got an x-ray of this mapped out section of your brain, and they go in and go, okay, can you do this? Change it. Can you do that? Change it. Yeah. So a big thing is this, right? Like jazz hands.
Yeah.
If I turn the thing off, I couldn't do that. It'd be going, it's crazy to watch happen.
Yeah.
So I brought a guitar because they knew a musician. It's amazing the power of Google. I'll tell you right now, because when I went in for the interview, they said, so what do you do, Miss McLernon? I said, I'm a musician. I got, which is code for you piece of shit. So, and I said, and I always feel snotty saying this, but it's true. I said, I'm a real musician. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I make records. I got platinum and gold on my wall. My my daughter and son have been on #1 records. I mean, we're a musical family. I take it seriously. It's for real.
Yeah.
And I think he's still kind of, okay, sure. So 5-10 more minutes, he goes out and says, let me just grab the other doctor real quick and we'll get going on this. So 5 people come back in the room because somebody Googled me.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. McLernon. Oh, you're like, so you want to play again? You're like, yes, I'd like to play again. What do you want? I want to be able to play and go to the gym.
Right.
Really? That's it? And I said, what do you mean that's it? Playing is everything. So I brought a guitar the very first day for the dial up, and I'm on an off period. So when they put the thing in your head, there's like a honeymoon period where you don't have anything, right? You're fine, and then it starts to wear off.
Mm.
So I came in and sat down, and he goes, "Okay, we're going to stop your right leg from moving," and it did. We're going to stop your right arm, and I mean, I'm going, I'm moving like everyone thinks of Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So he goes, okay, now left leg, now left arm. And sure as shit, I mean, nothing. Like I am right now. No problem. So I've grabbed my guitar. Here, I'll even grab my guitar and I'll illustrate what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully this is not, hopefully it's, oh, it's not in tune. Oh well, but I played, somebody gave me a doctor first, which I thought was pretty funny.
Okay.
They didn't know it,
Right.
because they weren't Van Halen fans, but
Right.
but I played it, and I could not believe it. I'd gotten my ability to play back. Now, am I at 95, 98%? No, I'd say I'm at 85. But
Okay.
at 62, and the mileage I put on this thumb, particularly,
Yeah.
I'll take it. So that was I'm talking to someone actually who is going to get the operation on the 5th of August tomorrow. So that was one of the best things about coming out, as it were, as a Parkinson's patient, because those people say, I'm battling Parkinson's, or like with Ozzy, they were saying Ozzy died from complications of Parkinson's. No, he didn't. He died with it, but what killed Ozzy was that spinal surgery.
Okay.
Just brutal. But the guys opened for Ozzy, meaning Saigon, in 91 or 2 out of Budokan. And they said he was shuffling then. That classic Parkinson's shuffle and the shakes and all that. So probably just did what I did. I figured it was just getting older or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, this is such a game changer. I will talk to anybody who will listen that should go get this. I had a dinner with a friend of mine the other night, and he's a pharmacist, and he's teaches classes and all that. He's a real deal kind of pharmacy guy. I always like to tease him he's a drug dealer and stop lying. But he goes, "Are you sure you have it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." Why? He goes, "Because I'm looking at you, and you're not moving, nothing."
Yeah.
I said, well, it just shows you. I mean, it literally turned everything around. I went to a Michael J. Fox fundraising event in November, and he was there.
Yeah.
And I'm watching that poor guy suffer through everything because he's sitting in the crowd, and they got him talking. He's fine. So I don't know if they timed his medication right, or maybe he's got DBS. He turns on, turns off. I don't know. But I'm thinking to myself, good God, if I had that to deal with, I don't know what I'd do.
Right.
Because I'm about 6 years in. And when I had to turn it off recently, instead of going out of the cancer diagnosis, I had to turn it off during the radiation part. So it just came back like a roaring beast, just moving and shaking. They had to take me down with packing tape so I couldn't move. So they can get a clear reading and shoot in the proton rays clear.
How do you turn it off and on?
I have a remote. It looks like an old Nokia phone.
Okay.
So there's a lock button. You hit the lock button, and then there's big red on or off button.
So in what situations would you turn it off?
None. No. I would turn it off. There's an MRI mode. So if I have to get an MRI, I have to put it in this certain mode.
Okay.
Then we turned it off during the radiation just because I didn't want to fry the battery. Because if I mean, could they put a new one in? Sure, but I don't know how fast they can do that sort of stuff. So that's the only time I turned it off was when I went in for the radiation they would say, okay, we had dental science, big routine. Okay, ready? Right hand. Can you see? I'm unlocking it. Yep, see that? Okay, I'm turning it off. Bam, turn it off. Hand it back to them. Go. They put it on the other side of the room. Bring it back as soon as we're done. Boom, boom, turn it the other way around. So one day, because this is just the way life works, someone handed it to me in my left hand upside down. So I hit this combination of buttons I was not used to hitting, and and I hand it back to the tech, and she's like, "What does this mean? It's got this red light going on." Oh God, I have no idea. And I was telling the truth, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I said, "You give it back to me." I had to unbolt the face mask thingy, and now I just literally turned it off again. Just hope for the Windows reboot, right? But it worked, came back on. So that's the only time I've had to turn it off. I guess I could turn it off as a party trick, but it's 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 not so fun. I mean, because I just remember turning off the first time, going, "Wow, this is what it would be like if it was 1955." You know, how else would I calm my nervous system down? You know, a bottle of bourbon. I mean, brutal,
Yeah.
just brutal.
When did you how long after you found out did you tell everybody?
Oh, that's a really good point. I didn't want to tell anybody at first. I remember getting a huge argument with my dad because he kept telling people in the family who I just didn't want anyone to know. I was like, until I really get a handle on this,
Yeah.
I just don't. So I told I told the guys in the band, both bands, and a couple peripheral friends here, like Bass, he knew obviously, and the other guys in Shinedown now. But I kept it quiet, and then I decided. And one of the early proponents of pushing me, there was a couple of Beeler was like, dude, just tell people you'll get the biggest cheerleading section you ever heard. And he was right, to which he was happy to remind me that he was right. It's kind of, again, kind of who he is. But he, so I came out, as it were. I had my outing party on Facebook. I just, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm going through. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. And then I got the DBS, which was, you know, talk about a new lease on life. I call that, when they put that out on March 3rd, that was my second birthday.
Yeah.
It's that important.
Yeah.
And then, so flash forward a couple of years to this past February. I'm driving in the car, going somewhere, and I'm singing songs for the Cold Sweat reunion gig, whatever, on the boat. So car is one of the places where I can sing, and no one's gonna. Well, I mean, people hear me at lights, but whatever. I can just drive up and down the 405 and just sing, you know, just because I knew some people didn't care, and I can rehearse as much as I want.
Yeah.
So I'm singing "Delivering the Goods," and there's this one note after the guitar solo, and it's a high E. It's this note. Right? So I have to hit that note. And I do, I'm used to it, but on the particular occasion, I cough up what looks like the end of a pencil, like an eraser. And my first thought is, oh, it's just snot. I'll just swallow it. You know, I'm like, wait a minute. And you kind of doing that.
Yeah.
So I take it out and look at it and go, okay, that's kind of weird. And it looked very pink and very healthy. So I was like, well, you know what? I'll take it into my dentist. He's a bit of a freak on this stuff. He always checks me for oral cancer. So I put it on like a little navigator. I put it on the center console, and we drive to the dentist. So when I drop it off, and he goes, sure, yeah, we'll biopsy it and see what happens. And then I saw my GP the next day, and I told him, he's like, I got people who cough up all kinds of stuff. Don't worry about it. You know, probably nothing. And so, because frankly, they had never heard of anything like this. I found out later.
Yeah.
So I put it out of my head for about a week. And then the dentist calls me up and says, hey, by the way, this is squamous cell carcinoma. You might want to get it checked out. So I said, okay, so I will. And I did. And it turns out coughing up your biopsy is not really the usual way they find it, surprisingly.
Right.
And the doctor, the guy I got everybody who I mentioned to was like ecstatic, like I got the guy, you know. It's like getting Ted Williams as a pitching coach, you know, or sorry, hitting coach.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, lucked out there again. Way to go, McLernon.
Yeah.
And he said, I've never heard of this. He's like, well, you caught it so early, we can't find it on the scan.
Yeah.
I said, but it isn't there. He goes, oh yeah, it's there. So he went in and took out. He said, we'll just do a tonsillectomy, which every adult who may be listening to this, and I know people now who've gotten them voluntarily, almost like it's an eye lift. Don't get a tonsillectomy. It hurts. Don't do it. So he went and took out the left one. He's like, you know what? I'm here. Let's take out the right one too. And that one had a tumor in it. So,
Yeah.
so pulls them both out. And then he goes, by the way, you can't get it all because we didn't know it was there. We didn't know we were going after, but we knew it was there. And you got a picture. It's kind of like an octopus with tentacles. So they didn't know there were tentacles to get out of what they call the margins. They didn't want any ink in the margins. It's like, when did doctors become so metaphorical? You know, aren't you guys just supposed to be so cut and dried, so to speak? But so that was fun. Not that really hurt. And as that was healing, the radiation, which they recommend, because they said, well, we can go back in and cut the rest of it out, but you might get lymphedema. And I said, what will that do? They said, that'll make your right arm swell up and you can't use it. It hurts. I was like, no, I'm a musician. I kind of need my arm.
Yeah.
Need my hand, need my arm. And he said, okay. So they went in and started with the radiation. And for the first 2 weeks of radiation, it was okay.
Yeah.
It was like a little dry throat, throat felt a little tight. Felt like I had sunburn, well, it was burn.
Yeah.
But man, they said you'll feel kind of a hangover effect, like a boomerang. Like it'll hurt 2 weeks past when you're done. It's not like taking a cast off your leg. Like, okay, go. No. So I for the next 2 weeks, I'm sitting there waiting for it to get better, and it's not. It just keeps, I guess, adjusting to itself. Like the thing, you know, it assimilates, it gets into some other organism and just makes it worse.
Yeah.
So I went and saw the head and neck guy, and I told him that, and he goes, oh yeah, you're not going to start feeling normal until about mid-August. I was like, you guys got to get on the same page here. I got one guy telling me this, you're telling me that. And the head and neck guy was right, because I'm almost there.
Okay.
As you know, the only thing that kept us not from going earlier was I wasn't sure I could talk very well.
Right.
So, and there's still some things I'm listening to myself because I'm a freak. There's still, I can tell there's certain letter combinations I don't quite have yet.
Right.
Funnily enough, my own name is one of them, which is some sort of cosmic joke, I know. But the fun part is, and you've complimented me more than once, so thank you very much. But I've been able to write about this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just astounded at the reaction that has gotten. Never mind, you know, the horror show of radiation, but people just reacting to just how I'm telling the tale. Because I didn't want to downplay it. I didn't want to make, ha, it's fun, it's cancer. No, it's not fun. Every time I walk into the waiting room, I'd see somebody who had it way worse than I did. I'm just thinking, I got nothing to complain about. I'll be over here, you know. But I was going to speak in my voice at least. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I have to go through. And it's worked really well in the sense that it has made some people, like the Parkinson's thing, come forth and say, hey, this has happened to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to someone tomorrow on a Zoom call, and he's going in 5th. Okay, wait, I got it backwards. This guy's going in for DBS on the 5th. The other one I'm going to talk to tomorrow, too, is going in for the same HPV cancer.
Right.
Same. So he's going to, but everyone's a little different. So I'm not going to say, well, do this or do that because I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
No, but it's just going to be, well, this worked for me. Yeah.
It was.
It'll scare the crap out of you. I made the joke that those 3 little words, you know, no, it's not I love you, it's you have cancer. Yeah.
It was June 20th. you shared a Facebook post titled "The Day Judas Priest Saved My Life,"
Yep.
and I was just like, and so you're writing like over a few different posts your experience, what it was like when you first found out about it, and
Right.
then going through the radiation and all and the pain you were going through. And I was like, I just found like when you read a good book and you're just like in it and you feel like you know the characters, it's like, son of a bitch, I've never met this guy, we've never talked. And I was just like drawn into your story. And so I knew at some point I was going to say, with your writing ability, and I taught high school English. I have an English degree. I was like, shit, this guy should write a book. I mean, because not only is he a musician, and the Parkinson's thing, and the cancer, and all the anyway. I'll stop now.
I don't know. No, but that means a lot because my father was an English major, so he was very particular about how we express ourselves. And you'll like this in Wisconsin. In your freshman year, they make you take what's called the West, the Wisconsin English Standard Testing, right? So I went to Lawrenceville, which is a prep school in the East Coast, and I had 13 guys in my class each time. So we got high level attention from the teachers.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned how to write. So I got to college, and the the teacher says, "Okay, we're going to take this test. Don't feel bad. 90 some odd something you're gonna fail,
Yeah.
but that's okay. So you'll be in 101, but there might be some people who move to 102. Right now, I've got hair to about here. I'm just trying to grow it out. I've the Texas tuxedo. I got the jeans and the jean jacket and the Iron Maiden Killers t-shirt.
Yeah.
And we take the test, and it's stuff that's, to me, like I've made the joke about strong and white, but it's the there, it's the your, it's stuff like that. Those kind of contractions,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And she says, "Well, everybody failed the test." And here I'm kind of like, "What? Huh?" I'm not pissed, except one. Would Chris McLernon please come up and you can go to English 102? So I get up in front of class and really, and she's looking at me like, "Are you kidding me? You're the kid who passed?"
The kid in the Iron Maiden shirt.
Yeah, but it's important to me to be able to tell, and again, not scare someone with in this particular sense of what I was doing. So it was a matter of, how do I tell, as the expression goes, it's not the tale, it's he who tells it. How do I make what I'm going through, get the empathy from the reader, but not candy coat it or be too flippant,
Yeah.
glib.
Yeah.
That's how I was writing was described in college.
Yeah.
You're too flippant, too glib. By the way, here's an A minus.
Yeah.
And the minus is because you're writing so it's too flippant, too
Yeah.
So, but what, to your point, it's made me think, well, I think maybe it's time to act upon that and figure out what to do. Because I've written, I don't know if you've seen it, but I have bigmick.com, which is where I kind of told the story of being the kid who, played in Mount Vernon and went all the way to, yes, it's through Saigon Kick. But it's, there's a lot of stuff that happened, luckily, because I was paying attention and didn't have a drug problem.
Yeah.
And have a good memory. So, but it's finding the right avenue for it, because as you know, you can self-publish all day long.
Yeah.
But, I'd like to think that something about it makes it a little more, maybe I can, leapfrog a couple of steps here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But it was, like I said, the hard part was not to be too flip.
Yeah.
And because that's my natural inclination anyway. But
man,
when they bolt you down in that thing, that face mask, and I left a bunch of stuff out because I figured, well, does Facebook now own all this? So I've got to make sure that I can add to it.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff I didn't talk about, which is fine, and maybe some not gruesome, but definitely not for the faint of heart, because there were some people who said that was really cool, but my God, that was scary. You know, I'm
Oh,
like,
I mean, there were times where the humor came through, but it wasn't flippant. Because in the next line, you're like, "Holy shit!" You're like scared for what you're going through, and I was like,
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, man. I mean, the Parkinson's. I figured, I knew that wasn't lethal, right? But Greg Chason, who plays bass in Badlands, he had it, but he let it go to stage 4 because he's Greg and he's toughest son of a bitch I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
But so I called him and said, "Hey, man, I got it." And he goes, he had some of the best advice, and I reiterated part of it, which was, he said, just listen to the doctors.
Yeah.
You know, it's very fashionable now for everyone to, oh, you know, I did do this, do that, holistic this, ivermectin this thing. And he's like, don't. He's like, so my first thought was, because I got it a bunch when I mentioned the Parkinson's, and people were like, well, what about CDB? I'm thinking, if that worked, we'd all take it. There'd be no Parkinson's. You know, thank you for looking out for me, but I'm going to go with the doctors on this one.
Yeah.
And there was only a few times, as I mentioned in my last post, where I questioned the doctors, like, what? What do you know? That doesn't make sense. And then they, to their credit, go, oh, you're right.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. I don't know why we do that. So,
Because you were saying like the different parts of the hospital weren't communicating.
oh yeah,
I read that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And which, like, for example, in the 2 weeks past the treatment, and middle of August is my comfort date. Because I had said to the guy, well, because that operation I think was March 3rd or 4th, and I said, what do you think? Think I can go and play a gig? He goes, where are you going to be? And I told him, like, we're going to be in a boat, and we're going to be doing this and doing that. And he goes, you know what? I wouldn't do it. And he's usually a pretty good judge of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if he thinks you're cool, you can do it, go.
Yeah.
And I said, why not? And he goes, well, you don't want to be out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and start bleeding.
Right.
And I thought, ooh, that's a good point. And especially, this was the cruise where Ted Poley, his drummer, had a heart attack. Ferrari had heat exhaustion or heat stroke or whatever it was during our set, which makes me look like a genius, but not that smart. And a friend of mine who had also had the same operation a couple of years ago, and I'd forgotten it just because I think, as most people do, when it's not you, you tend to gloss over the details of their life. Maybe they had a cancer thing, but you're not sure. And he reiterated the whole story with me. Well, like 3 days after his first tonsillectomy, he started bleeding, and he got barely past his driveway before he passed out. So they had to get him into the hospital, and if it had been 10 more minutes, he would have bled out. But that's what, for me, would have happened in the middle of the ocean when I'm going to hop on a helicopter and fly back to where we get right. So, but I'm glad I didn't, because, dude, I was so uncomfortable anyway. It was just hurt. Ooh.
Did you say Doug Aldrich was
Yeah.
you out?
Yep. Yeah. Because I followed Doug on Instagram, and I saw there was a picture he took of a selfie, and it's obviously they taken a lymph node or something here. And I know his bass player from Lion, Jerry Best.
Okay.
And I have, and I didn't get to cover this during the earlier part of the talk, but I will now, because I've got a special place for me where the guys who moved to LA packed up all their shit, like Poison, great example, and moved west during the last bit of the Exodus West. We're all going out there, and we're all going to be rock stars.
Yeah.
No, like that bit in Decline Part 2. Oh, I'm going to make it. There was one person that kind of made it. And I remember thinking, watching that, because I watched it recently, I'm just going, what the hell made me think I wasn't going to be, no, I'm going to be different than those guys. So Jerry and Doug moved out there from, Philly, I think they're from, or Pittsburgh, one or two. So those that type of person. Everyone in Cold Sweat was like that.
Yeah.
They all moved from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so that type of person really strikes with me. And Jerry I knew who still had Doug's contact info. I said, hey, can you tell him I'd like to get a hold of him? So yeah, Doug was like, dude, bro, you gotta do this, bro. Because he's just got this great way of saying bro. Um, and he said, try this, try Manuka honey on it, try this, try that. You're gonna have this, you're gonna have open sores on your tongue, and they're gonna want to do this. So, but do this to rinse it out. And like Greg Chason said, if they offer you a feeding tube, take it. I was like, why? It's because I lost 85 pounds. I was like, that's like a fourth grader. How do you lose that? But Doug walked me all the way through it. He called it again, kind of like Larry did with the band reunification. Doug was like, okay, just you're not going to want to feel like anything after the radiation. You just want to sleep. He's like, dude, I was playing. I get up and I go take a nap for 4 hours. I was just beat.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know fatigue, but let's see what it means. Whew. I always sleep like 14 hours a night, like no problem. So I would sit there and as I drifted around, and just have movies going on.
Yeah.
So Amazon was my best friend for about 3 weeks there. I just went $4 or $5 for Blu-ray of Forbidden Planet. Bring it. Let's go.
Yeah.
But the funniest part is too about the eating. Everyone like when you're a kid and you're from our era, tonsillitis. Well, what does that mean? That means tonsillectomy, and that means ice cream because it feels great. No, it hurts like shit. It feels like someone putting pencils in your ears. That cold just hits those sores, and it's just brutal. So,
Right.
no, that didn't work. Just the only thing that worked for me for about a week and a half was chicken soup that I would bolster with like bone broth.
Right.
And then I would dip a baguette in it, and I could see how far I could get. Like I would swallow as fast as I could,
Yeah.
and hope, okay, I got it. It's down. Now let's try one more. And sometimes I would have to take a bite and then get up and walk around in the house, do a couple of laps, and then sit back down and try something else. And then I graduated to croissants,
Right.
and then I put risotto in it. Okay, great, no problem. Then I tried Southwestern black bean soup, forgetting the Southwestern part. Holy mackerel, brutal. It was like last night I taunted the gods because I'm a dumbass. My wife made Mexican food, and I thought, well, everything's going pretty well. Let's see how it feels. So I put a little bit of Cholula on my black bean and I think ground beef or ground turkey. And oh boy, I'd get out the old rinse and just knock that thing back because it hurt like crazy. But
Right.
it's like the ultimate kid. Don't touch that stove. It's hot. Don't do it. Don't do it. Ow! I told you not to touch the stove. It's hot. Yes, I know. That's why I told you not to touch it. But so I'll do that anyway. I remember when it was all said and done with the radiation, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make myself a fine martini and see how this goes. Yeah. First of all, I hadn't had a drink in about 4 months. So I took one whiff and I was like, God, that smells like rubbing alcohol. And I'm going to drink this. So I took a sip and man, it felt like you would imagine rubbing alcohol being rubbed on an open wound would feel.
Right.
Except it's in your mouth.
Right.
Oh, unreal. And again, some things that I didn't want to say just because I don't want to scare people off. But my sister, the doctor, supervised my niece's tonsillectomy. She didn't do it, but she took care of it. Apparently, the tongue being one of the biggest muscles in the body has to be moved out of the way to get to the tonsils, right? Which my doctor now said, I don't have enough to get a biopsy, so I don't know where you're going to cough the next one up. So he apparently what they do is they go back in there, they pull your tongue out. I know this sounds like a Tom and Jerry skit, but they pull your tongue out and then they take a spike and they shove a spike through the back of your tongue and then pull your tongue aside so it's now out of the way of the tonsils.
Jeez.
Yeah. because I'm going. I said to Bridget, like, the back of my tongue hurts so badly. She goes, yeah, here's why. Oh my! And man, you could see it. I mean, the back of my tongue on both sides. Like, if you get your hand like this, and here's the size of your tongue, like all the way from the thumb to the wrist was just nothing but an open sore.
You didn't get any pictures of that, did you?
Actually, I may have.
Oh,
Well, I definitely have video.
okay. Feel
I
free to send that shit over because I'm just kidding.
I have a video of the to the camera that they shove up your nose and you're down and look. Now the best part was my vocal cords look great, but I'm looking at this stuff going, "Good God, that looks horrible." And he's, "Oh no, it looks great." I'm going, how how are we seeing the same thing and having opposite reactions? I guess that was a trained eye,
Yeah.
but yeah, it the idea that they took a spike and moved my tongue out of the way, just like, thank God I was asleep, and it was a robot too, so I
Oh,
got
really?
yeah, you have to, because I guess the robot's precision is just ridiculous. But I still don't like the idea of an hour and a half worth of setup, because I guess the operation took like 20 minutes. Most of it was setup, calibrating, all this stuff. And I just said, make sure you just don't hit the DBS stuff, please. I don't need to be waking up with my chest on fire.
Yeah.
Or look down and see, like a smoldering blackened line
Yeah.
of the battery lead.
Right.
But it was, like I said, there's a lot of stuff, and I wrote it all down. Like, I wrote down my drug regimen of, how often and what type, because there'd be times when the pain would be so bad, like, I got to take another one. This is horrible. I'm like, oh, I only took it 20 minutes ago. Great.
What were they giving you for pain?
Is it codone? It's the one that it doesn't have acetaminophen with it. It was pure opiate.
Okay.
So they gave me Dilaudid in the hospital.
Yeah.
So, and I don't like painkillers. I don't get, like, my sister died of opiate abuse. So I don't know. She's not here to ask, but I don't know if she liked it, and that's what happened. Like, for me, it did its job.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of anxious and I didn't get like creepy cries like Phil. I asked him, you ever taking me? Oh my God, that made me throw up. I can't take them.
Yeah.
So, that was the worst part of it for me, was just having to time it out and just think to myself, again, I don't have it nearly as bad as someone else. I don't have a broken, pelvis or whatever. So I'm trying to think of the most heinous thing you can do to yourself where you need pain bills. But that was, getting off of them for me was easy.
Okay.
So, but the Bruce, have you read Bruce Dickinson's autobiography?
I have.
What does this button do? It's called.
Okay. I know of it, but I haven't read it.
If you want, just, I shouldn't be saying this, but go into a bookstore and just grab a copy and start reading it. It's got a chapter called "Fuck Cancer" that is almost dead on. He had it a little worse than I did, but it's pretty much exactly the protocol. And that was 10 years ago, so he's doing pretty good.
So they feel like you're good now. I mean, they're not like, oh shit, I hope it doesn't. I mean, they feel like it's gone.
Yep. Yeah, I had a PET scan yesterday, which was my first of the 3-month PET scans. And when he walked out of the office last time I saw him, the head and neck guy goes, "Well, we got it. See, we'll see you at the schedule in 5 years. I'll send you on your way."
I think even people who know you, though, I mean, you think, well, maybe I'm pretty positive and stuff, but if I had to go through what you were doing, I don't know if I could be. And you are.
Well, that's until you do it. It's like you hear people say about, I don't know if I could be a parent, and when they're kids, I'd be a horrible dad, and they're going to be great, So you don't know sometimes until you're thrown into it, because I got to admit, I never ever saw this one coming. I have a motto. I don't have many, but this one is: if you tell me what I'll be doing a year from now, I won't believe you. So last summer, if you had told me I'd be recovering from radiation and throat cancer, that was seemed like minor league throat cancer. I'd be like, yeah, what? Me? Throat cancer. I don't smoke. I don't do tobacco stuff like the chaw and stuff. Never did coke. No, nothing. Yeah, right. Whatever. But I happen to get mine is caused by a virus.
Yeah.
It's not caused by carcinogen. I'm sure that would have made it worse,
Right.
but but when the doctor said, "Look, man, this is curable," I was like, "Okay, you usually don't hear that. So whatever's going to make me get on the other side of preventable for good, I'm going to."
Yeah.
It's had a cool effect too in the house because my wife is now very let's eat organic, let's do this, let's do that. Cool, awesome, bring it on. There's only a couple things like I think I mentioned this in one of the posts that the only thing Parkinson's has really bummed me out is like I'm definitely reticent about surfing. I love to surf because I've read now my doctor's like, I don't believe that shit, which cracks me up. But apparently you have a more higher propensity for drowning.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
now I'm sure I could put on a life vest, but that might be, a little difficult to pop up. I haven't tried it yet. So I think I'm going to try it next summer.
Where are you at now?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
So nice, easy surfing, easy waves, and I love surfing, man.
Yeah.
I love it. So that's the only thing that's really made my life different for Parkinson's. For this, I see this as a giant pain in the butt, and I want to get rid of it. Like I had the PET scan yesterday, so I just give me the answer that it's fine because the other two have been fine. I just want to hear this one, and let's move along. I got stuff to do, But I got another friend of mine who says, "Hey, man, I've known you well enough and long enough that you just do shit like that." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, he always reminds me of this. He goes, "You asked Ed Van Halen to jam. You were not afraid. You asked him." And I said, again, because I didn't think about it. Just did
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And the next thing I know, I'm playing War Pigs. That. I mean, when I bought Van Halen 1, there's no way. No way.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what you're going to be doing in 8 years?
Right.
What? You're going to be playing Van Halen songs with this guy? Really? No way. You're out of your fucking mind. You've just sniffed all the glue in the model department or something.
Yeah.
But like I say with the Dio, I remember here's a great. This will give you an idea what Ronnie's like. They were rehearsing next to us for Lock Up the Wolves, and that was the Cold Sweat breakout tour, right? So Aunt and I, because we're there early, as I mentioned, and we're just knobs. I mean, Aunt and I just love all music, right? So, but he's so much more well versed. He's got a huge vocabulary. Like when we were writing Loud and Forever, he goes, this one part of the song sounds like this, and he sends over a song from Styx 2. I'm like, A, who knows this song? B, Styx 2. Nobody has Styx 2
Yeah.
other than you.
Right.
God, yeah. So he shit, and I just lost my spot. What was I talking about? Oh,
Talking about Dio.
so we go in, and Ronnie says, "Hey, you guys, we're gonna do some Rainbow on this set. Any songs you guys want to hear?" And of course, yeah, and we just started rattling them off.
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, I get it. Right. Okay, thanks, guys." So we're out on the first night of the tour, and Jens Johansson is playing keyboards for him. And one of the songs I had said to him was, "I want to hear Tara Woman, I want to hear Stargazer," and I think I said Long of Rock and Roll. And Ant named his. And Jens started Tara Woman. And I look at him like, are you fucking kidding me? So they play it, and then we see Ronnie after the show, like, and he cuts us off. He's like, "Told you. You guys want to hear some stuff?" So there it is, playing it every night. And I was like, I cannot believe this just happened. Again, one of your people who is really, I guess, more of an inspiration than a hero, but because you want to be like him. You don't want, because he had bad days too, you know. But you want to think that the people who guided your career somehow knew they were doing it.
Yeah.
And then when you meet them and they show you how, it's like a secret little box just opened up. Oh, so that it's like that briefcase in Pulp Fiction. You know, the light just comes out on you. And he, I, he would just do stuff like that all the time. He'd sing lyrics um, that were just joke lyrics because something just happened on stage, so he'd work it into the song. And you're thinking, okay, he's kind of a serious guy. He's unbelievably funny, unbelievably funny. So that was he would. I guess the best part for me was having guys like that in your corner,
Yeah.
who just seemed untouchable. Like I'm looking at the ultraphobic thing, or the dog eat dog thing, right?
Yeah.
We opened for Saigon, opened up for them this thing called Blaze Fest in Chicago, and they asked us to be the opener. I mean, they loved Saigon Kick, and I knew these guys from back in the old days, right? So we used to rehearse this place called DB Sound over in Lancashire. So, and I used to see Jerry all the time. We'd be passing out flyers Long Beach Arena. I mean, everyone, it was real camaraderie.
Yeah.
And so I go, we finish, I think Love's on the Way or something, and we're done because our roadie has misread the set time. We had 5 more minutes, and the guys in weren't all wanted to hostile. And so I come walking off stage, well, downstage, and I remember Turner saying to me, "Dude, how you doing? This is awesome. So happy for you." Right? Yay, bros, we're all bros. And he's like, "Where the fuck is hostile?" I said, "We had to quit." He goes, "No, you guys can go back and play it. We're telling you." But by that time, point it was too late. And you're like, "Oh, man."
Right.
So, again, fun. That was fun because those guys had been there since the beginning. Like when I remember them getting their deal and rehearsing next to some mates and then coming out and they're just good dudes who they work so hard,
Yeah.
so hard. But when you are there's this place called the Country Club in Merced, probably 1,500 seater, packed, right? And everybody is singing Heaven before it's even out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even on a record yet,
Yeah.
but the whole crowd is singing. You're just going, these guys might be onto something.
Isn't it crazy how Janie Lane passes away at 47, can't get rid of his demons, but Phil Varone, I mean, if you watch the documentary, that guy got out of how badly it's weird.
I know. Yeah, Lane too. God, I mean, I think they said something like he had something like 11 bottles of vodka and 48 hours of before he died. And I mean, he was just such a good dude.
Yeah.
He really was. But yeah, you bring up a good point. It's like, how come Alex Van Halen could drink half the planet in the shape of a liquor can, but his brother dies at age, what was that, 60?
Yes. Well, I think wasn't he 65 or I could be wrong.
Early.
Early 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, Nugent always makes it come about him and Ozzy. They're the same age.
Yeah.
But Ozzy, as we said, he probably would have been in a little better shape if he hadn't been in that horrible ATV accident.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what. Have you seen much of the coverage about Ozzy? Because what fascinates me, because I'm catching it peripherally, is that he is obviously beloved. I have no doubt about that. But the influence, I mean, I have never seen Birmingham come to a crawl today with that funeral procession.
Right.
Unreal. It's just unreal. And you forget he had this long career, and he's being appreciated now, I guess is my point.
I think that's a big thing is if you still feel like, man, I got things I need to do, that, like your positive attitude, you have all these things but if you were like, well, shit, I did everything. I mean, you'd be like, well, screw it, but you do have things you want to do.
Yeah. Well, and what's really been made apparent I'm doing this whole posting business is getting again back to the writing. It's like I always known I can do it. So if I can't play bass due to the arthritis in my left thumb anymore, and just goes, I can't do it. I can type on a keyboard.
And you don't know when you're young how important your health is because you think it's going to last forever.
Oh
And
yeah,
now you get to like what you've gone through and you're like, wait a minute, shit, your health is everything.
yep, yeah. Because if you don't have it, just again, think people like you were describing getting your dad up, just getting someone up out of a chair.
Ugh.
Good Lord, you know.
Even Steve Brown from Tricks, I was talking to him not too, and he quit drinking 6 years ago.
Yeah,
And he's like, he had, I think, had some minor health problems. And he's like, I've discovered that health is the number one thing. Because if you don't have that, nothing else matters. Not the shit you have or whatever. That is all that matters. Anyway, yeah.
yeah. I love Steve. Good dude.
Really good, really nice guy. Yeah.
So I'm on one. I think we had one of the cruises. I want to say he was playing with somebody,
Okay.
not Trickster.
Okay.
So it might have been Motor Fist.
Oh, yeah. Tokyo Motor Fest, right? Yeah, that could have been.
Yeah, but it wasn't Trickster. I know that,
Yeah. Right.
and I know EJ wasn't on the boat.
Okay.
So or was he? I don't know. Sometimes those cruises feel like one big high school reunion, and you're walking out of it going, "Did I just really talk to that dude?" Because when we were in class, I couldn't stand him, and
Yeah.
he seems like a great guy now.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, that's just the crazy part. Some of those and fun of those cruises where I can get plopped sitting down next to someone and just, wow, I never thought I'd be sitting next to you right now.
Right.
I remember at NAM we were doing a strings thing for SIT strings. To my right was I think Brent Fitz, and to my left was Dave Ellison,
Oh, no shit.
and all he could talk about was how the floor hurt his feet, and he was glad that SIT had shag carpeting in
Right.
there. I was just like, that's not very metal, Dave.
Yeah.
So but again, good guy. I see him in Van Nuys because he and Dave would go to Benny the Jet Urquides fight school over right like a block away from our house. So they were, the other block, but the other way was the 7-Eleven. So you see him there all the time.
Right.
And this was after they all got clean at the same time. So he and Dave were in the process of getting in shape,
Right.
which I think culminated on the video for Hangar 18.
Oh, right.
In Van Airport.
Yeah. That's right. That's
And he
right.
looked like, again, like, oh my God, really? And I was like, dude, and I said, dude, I remember everything, everybody. Don't feel bad that you don't remember me.
Yeah.
Feel bad. I've got just one of those memories. It's just it works.
Yeah.
So, but all right, dude. Hey, it's 8:25.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so I'm just gonna and we'll finish it up right now.
Yeah.
So, hey, what are there social medias or anything that you want me? Because I'll put in the description where people can go follow you. I know there is a chrismclernon.com. It looks like it's kind of being built, but
Yes, yeah. I know. I've got to get on that.
yeah,
And Ron Keel's all over me, but he's like, dude, come on. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know. I get on everything going on.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram, I think, under just McLernon.
okay,
And Facebook is the Big Mick. So it's facebook.com/the Big Mick. But I think if you find me on the Googles anyway, I don't have the block up there that says only friends only can see this or whatever. So if
okay,
you type my name, I will pop up. And there's a Wikipedia as well, which I got up to date that.
yeah,
But mostly just, I mean, Instagram is the one I like the most.
Yeah.
Because it's succinct.
yeah,
And if I really like something, I can pay. It'll kick it back over to Facebook. Facebook is where I did pretty much all the the writing, because
Yes.
it was the only place I could. It's funny. I've seen people do much longer posts on Instagram than I could get one on. So I don't know what that's about. So
Yeah, I never do anything. Well, to me, Instagram's kind of a pain in the ass. Facebook's been a lot easier for me, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Facebook. I think right now they've been throwing too many ads at me.
yeah.
So, which is sometimes I find some great stuff, but sometimes I do not.
I will put your Instagram in the description. I'll put where all your stuff is. But man, it has been just a blast talking to you and hearing your story. And it's so inspirational. And I encourage you to think about writing a book. And man, I'm just rooting for you. Thank you so much, Chris McLernon, for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me, and I'm anytime at all. And it's always fun when someone knows the questions they want to ask.
Yep,
Because
absolutely.
I share interviews where someone's like, "So," and then they clearly have just read the Wikipedia page.
Right. No, I didn't do that. Nope.
Nope,
All right. We'll stay in touch and I'll let you know when this is coming out. Thanks again, Chris.
you got it, man. Take care.